Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da.
Hurrah, hurrah, hello and good morning, good evening, good afternoon, you lovely, lovely people. I hope you are ready for the shit show we are about to get into today. We have some ladies who are not too happy. How you guys doing? I'm on the top
better,
this
been
time.
worse.
Let's get on with the show, yeah, because I'm ready to burst out. Let's do this.
Hearing that we have echoes. Give me 1 second to just make sure.
Oh no. Okay, sorry, that was too much. That's me being
It
dramatic.
should be okay. I'm hearing through my headset, so
Let's
Oh.
get on with the show, yeah, because I'm ready to burst out.
Yeah, I can hear an
Let's
echo.
do this. Y'all.
I was playing the video to see if we had an echo, but I didn't hear anything, so I think we're good. It seems to be rectified. All right.
Rectified.
So where should we? And Nikki, how you doing? I didn't hear from you yet.
Nikki love.
Nikki.
Oh, maybe she got pulled away. That's okay.
All
She
right.
probably still pulled away. She was kind of in the middle of something, so.
It's all good either way. I am an idiot. I forgot to get water. I forgot to get a drink. I forgot. I don't have nothing. So, well, here we go. So, I'm terribly unprepared today, as I normally am, especially when we're going through stuff and getting screenshots. I'm terribly disorganized.
Sarcasm is
I'm sorry. Was my tone problematic?
It was very distracting. I'm sorry.
Shush! Watch your tone, lady. Ladies don't talk like that.
I'm in trouble. I'm getting in trouble. All right, so we got. Should actually get started. So a couple of weeks ago, I think about a month ago or so now, I went through an interview, which has now had the title of it changed. That somebody named Jim Hall from a channel called Atheist Edge had spoken with the great thief of the Non Sequitur show, Mr. Kyle Curtis. He had this talk with him, and he got really upset that I told him he was sucking a whole lot of dick. And I don't mean like his interview sucked, because it did. I mean he was like literally just caustic the whole time, like just taking that, just slobbering all over us. Listen, that was succulent. It was succulent.
Oh.
So
like someone was screaming with
You could feel the humidity in the air.
I'm surprised YouTube didn't take it down, quite frankly. It should have been uploaded to Pornhub.
Yes.
I've been
It was considered hardcore.
I've been in a mood today. I can't imagine why.
Oh, it's that time of the month.
That's what the times of the month are for. We have to call them the times now. The times of the month. Oh, it's dumb that this even has to be a thing.
So I ended up covering it on my channel, and if you're interested, you can go and take a look. And I think I was quite friendly for the first part one. For part one, I was quite cordial, benefit of the doubt, giving people as much charity as I possibly could before I started getting a little bit really though. I ended part one to get Jim, because he was saying already that I was apparently hostile in my live chat, because I offered that he could come in and say whatever piece he wanted to say. He refused, claiming hostility, and when ended up going live on Steve's channel, Steve let me know that this was going to happen, so I cut my stream, and we headed over there. He kind of went off. I came in to ask him a couple of questions. He got super duper mad. And I was like, I left and I finished my video when they were done. I was on in time in between, and that was that. I'm like, cool, done. No need to go over this again. I don't care. Turns out, in the meantime, Jim has been having a time over on Facebook as well as on his own channel, and he was Yeah, I was made aware of this by, I think it was Manya that told us about this, or it was Sweet that told us about this. I can't remember which.
I think it was both for different occasions, yes.
Oh, so there, a little bit of column A, a little
People
bit
are
of column
getting
B.
cozy in there. It's getting really warm.
And that one was a trip. So I think some of the ladies here got a little bit mad and a little bit frustrated with the situation and what had gone on, and wanted to address it. So where do you guys want to start? Do you guys want to start with Steve's channel? Do you guys want to start, or actually, better idea, we could start with the one with Nick, as we were planning on doing. We'll go through that a little bit, and when he starts making accusations, we can go check out those accusations.
Yep, sounds like a plan.
Works. Yeah, that works.
Does that work?
Mm-hmm.
All right.
I'm just gonna quick refresh this because apparently it's stuck cycling right now, so I'm gonna refresh that in the meantime.
Language warning from me, please. Yeah. In advance.
I think all of these have to kind of come with a language
disclaimer.
warning.
Yeah, and then don't go telling me that ladies don't talk like that, all right? Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, we're not real women, so it's okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh right, yeah, I forgot about that.
Can't forget about
we
that.
don't count. Kawasa for
That's what
5
Tim's friends
says.
say.
Kawasa for 5 says, I was promised a very angry Miss Manya. This should be good.
Yeah, I wish I had the drink on me though. That would have been even better, eh? Angry and sloppy mania.
Yeah, and I will give a heads up. Nick Suter is in this, and we do have a couple of issues, like the same thing that Jim with Kyle and Steve with Jim. In this case, same thing applies to Nick. However, we're not going to be going into that. There's been some conversations going on in the background with him. He's been ill. We're not going to go into that for now, so this is just going to be focusing on Jim. So we have to say that out of the sake of not being hypocrites for not saying something about it. So letting you know, yeah, there is some problems with the way we think that Nick has handled himself in this interview. However, we're not going to go into that here. He's ill. We're not looking to start any fights with anybody. There's been conversations in the background, so we're not going to go into that. We're sticking with Jim.
Jimmy boy.
Yeah.
So
It's Jimmy boy.
let me just share screens with you guys real quick. Hopefully you guys will be able to hear.
Okay.
You might need to click on me to be able to hear it.
Hi, this is Shelley Siegel, and you are watching Atheist Sketch.
Okay, so Nicholas Suter from the show In Time. First time on the show, and I have been just, there's a few things that I've been kind of addicted to during this stay-at-home quarantine thing, and your show has definitely been one of them. So I'm going back and reviewing, you know, and a lot of it is time sensitive. You know, it's breaking news, it's current events, so a lot of it doesn't really apply. But yeah, it's a lot of it though. However, is definitely worth going back and digging through your back catalog.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah,
I love the production quality is just. No one comes close to it right now. It's I think you're on a fast track for something very big, and not to say that non sequitur will ever be back. My hope is it will, but this is what I think the non sequitur would be looking like this time if nothing had happened. That's how I kind of see it.
I want to pause that real quick. In Time is supposed to be what non sequitur was?
What?
Yeah, contention number 1. Very, very different.
Not
Based
that
on what?
Maybe I'm already jumping the gun in some of the problems here, but yeah, I can get the volume increased. But is it just me, or is that like completely not? In Time does news. It literally says In Time breaking news on the video right above Nick.
Unfortunately, this is a consistent issue that Jim has presented over time, is that he completely misrepresents what shows are, what people say, what their intentions are. This is what's going on right now. He cares so much, and he's so invested in these people and their shows and what they're doing in their projects, but he seems to know literally nothing about any of it until it's convenient to do so. This is how it appears. We're going to go into that, but this is like indicative number 1.
money on the nail. Or was it hammer on the nail? Sorry.
I'm so
Barn
glad.
people.
I need to make it money on the nail.
I'm so glad
I
that
think
I
it
had.
needs to be that now.
I'm just so glad I happened to make Manya large, so that was like zoomed in, and I'm so happy about that. All right, moving on.
I appreciate that. We get that from a couple of people, and we've heard that. That's good. We take it seriously, and everybody who works on In Time, which is it's a significant number of people, we all take it seriously, and we all.
Okay.
Yes.
Go for it.
Awesome acknowledgement. But again, see now here we're running into an issue. We all just said that was kind of weird thing to say. All right, he agrees. He thinks that they are. He takes it to heart. The same thing, and I think from that we can deduce that it's more about he's taking the compliment of like you're trying to be on tier with non-sec. I'm not sure, but
had
now
a good reputation. So yeah.
Yeah. Because so we're not running into a contradiction there. It may just be a difference of interpretation of what he said. So
are doing our best to have a quality show, and that includes the production values, but that includes obviously host engagement, and being good with our guests and making sure that it's a quality product for everybody. So that's what we do.
Speaking of host engagement, great segue. You just fed that ball right to me. So how are you enjoying the new talent?
Courtney and I are getting along great.
Nice.
We've switched over some of how we do the production. For people who are curious about the back end, we've switched from OBS to vMix, which is a much more powerful software, but we're having a bit of a lag problem. And what happens is we hear each other about 2 or 3 seconds.
There is absolutely a lag problem on vMix. Just saying.
Yeah.
Pass when we should, and that's making it very hard to mesh and communicate. And it's like we're still learning each other's patterns and rhythms for this kind of thing anyway. So that's slowing us down, and that's having an impact. But we're talking about it, we're working through it, and the reality is she's very interested in doing a really good job, and that's sort of the number one requirement. And then the second thing is we really do get along well, and we've got a rapport, and we're just trying to once we deal with that issue, and you know, those kinds of technical issues can throw you off as a host. So she and I will start talking over each other. We'll start it, and it's not because of anything other than this lag on the back end. We're working on it. We got to fix a few other technical issues. There's been a lot of changes recently, but I really enjoy having her. She offers a great perspective, and she's really what we need. And I think it's spectacular. And she's sort of learning. We have a culture to the show, and she's learning that. And she's really fitting right in. It's working quite well. So we couldn't be happier.
I knew this day was going to come. I kind of feared it, and I was excited for it. So I'm having to share her. Now that I'm leaving the show, and I may or may not come back, even more important for her and Chris. I don't want the show to die. At the very least, even though I'm leaving, I'll be involved behind the scenes.
He doesn't want the show to die. Yeah, I paused already. He doesn't want the show to die, but he seems perfectly happy to drop a nuke on it before he leaves.
Oh yeah.
there's that.
There we go.
There's that. And how many days was this released after he said that he was gonna just leave and let things go, let me go on with my life, let people just go on doing what they're doing? He was gonna take his time, which I think he should take. If he needs time for his mental health because he's not handling this all well and not making sense, that's the right thing to do. However, he's dragging this out over and over again, publicly and in private. And again, I'm gonna throughout this thing, I might touch on things that are private, personal conversations that I've had. I'm doing that so that people understand where I'm coming from and my perspective, because part of this is me getting vilified for choosing not to be around somebody that makes me feel uncomfortable.
Straight up.
You can
sorry,
disagree. Yeah, I know. So yeah, no, thank you. You can disagree with my assessment, but hopefully I can make it clear why I made that assessment, and that there was nothing beyond the situation that happened that I wanted to drag out. I just wanted to leave it alone and let everybody go about their business, agree to disagree. If you want to fix our relationship, I gave very clear ways to do that. They were not only not met, but they're doubled down on in the opposite direction soon in this video.
Yeah, I can actually tell you about, so as of March 20th, he was saying that he was willing to overlook all of this in interest of not perpetuating drama, and if I'm not mistaken, it was only a day or so later that he made his announcement that he was no longer going to be on. However, he did say that there were videos that were backlogged that had already been done. This may have been one of those videos, presumably, because this is pre-recorded. This is a premiere. This was not live.
So I can get the dates for you. So on March 29th, Jim Hall said that he's leaving YouTube. And the interview was uploaded or premiered with Nick. This interview was premiered on April 13th, 2020. So, yeah.
Mine says premiered on the 12th because you live in New Zealand.
Yeah, it's a day ahead for me.
Oh no, we have conflicting information.
Oh,
it's
they're
almost like-
lying.
Oh god, the Earth is round. Oh god, there are.
You
Time
say
zones.
round, I say oblate spheroid. You know, we can't get along.
All right, here we go.
Let's go.
Enough to where the show will never actually die.
Mhm.
I would like. Courtney's got a full-time job. She splits her time between you and us. So I mean, she's burning the candle at both ends as it is. So I'm not expecting any more from her. Chris is the only other guy, smart as hell. He's got a full-time job. I don't know if he's gonna be able to step up. So at the very least, okay, worst case scenario, this show goes into some sort of like limited, maybe 1 upload a week instead of 3 a week. Not archived, but just not as active and less current shows and more like highlight clips, little digestible clips from earlier stuff until I can get maybe give that until the end of the summer, and I'll see where I'm at. I might make a comeback, but yeah, she's a diamond in the rough. I knew she was going to spread her wings eventually. Anytime like the big shows like in Austin want someone in person in studio, and they want someone from Atheist Edge, Courtney is the face of Atheist Edge, and I'm okay with that. I've told both of them that I'm okay with eventually being relegated to behind. I know my place in the food chain,
I don't know if it's just me here, but I know my place to be where it is. I'm supposed to be relegated to the back. Is that just me, or is that him looking for validation and being like, no, Jim, no, you're not relegated to the back. No. I don't know if it's just me that caught that.
Yeah,
It sounded like that.
It's tough, yeah, because there have been times like you've heard me say before, like it's the same thing, and it's up to whoever. I mean, again, we can feel how we feel. I feel like that sometimes, because I mean, who am I, right? I'm just somebody who hangs around a certain person's channel and have gotten into some other channels, but not through any assertion of my own. I was not looking to do that. So this is not the first time I've been kind of thrown under the bus for the sake of people looking better for the sake of their channel. I'm not here to make people look better for their channel. That's not what I do. I got into the community because there were people I respected that took me in and acted like they supported my deconversion and what I was going through at the time. And through that, I became friends with Steve, and here we are. But it's I kind of lost my train of thought, but just on that idea of doing things because it's beneficial for your channel versus the right thing to do in this situation.
Yeah, that gets run into. Can I also point out real quick? I just want to make sure people are aware. We didn't form any of these groups because anybody is friends with anybody else. The reason the people who are on the show are on the show is not because of any other reason than we all met through various means, and we all actually just kind of like each other and think that we had things we wanted to say.
Exactly. Yep.
All right.
Let's go.
Even the quiet one at the bottom.
We love her. She's adorable.
She's really the best of us, I think.
I like how she stays quiet and then just comes in just with a zinger and a half.
Yeah, you used to call me the Green Power Ranger. Now it's her.
Whoa! All right, ready?
Oh.
Here we go.
Yeah. They've got the smarts. I've got the drive and determination. It's a military thing, trying to keep people on schedule. I do have some things to offer, but they're all behind the scenes type of thing. Keeping people to a deadline, holding people accountable, messing with the equipment, and doing the tedious editing. So I'm
sorry. Could not help it.
I'm pretty sure I just heard Manya lose it, so I figured I'd stop that real quick so she could say what she wanted to say.
Let that out. That's on you.
Holding people accountable? Holding people accountable? Really, Jim? You held Kyle accountable. Yeah, you did. And the drive? Oh, yeah? Your drive's not focused, mate. That's not drive what you did with Kyle. Fuck it. Holding people accountable? That's so sweet. That's so cute. You're so cute. Stinkingly nasty.
That and like he seems to have trouble taking accountability himself.
Oh, absolutely. It's always somebody else's fault. There's just a mistake or it's just a misunderstanding. It's never me doing anything wrong or, and I hate to say malicious, but at this point, we're not going to have time to go through every single point and every single
Oh yeah, we are
contradict
not
and
going through this
lie.
whole video. We're
We're
only
not-
going to get to it
cannot.
maybe about like here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Sorry
again,
about that.
if
I just couldn't help
anyone,
it.
no, and this is important to clarify because again, this was all supposed to go away. We're going to deal with it in the background, let people do what they wanted to do if they cared about saving their relationships, and leave it alone. Please, someone tell me where I have been the one dragging this out publicly. Meanwhile, Jim is dragging me out publicly for feeling my own
Even
feelings
I haven't
about
been
what I
dragging
feel.
this out publicly. I only
No,
talked about his
nobody
interview
has.
with Kyle.
We shouldn't be having this conversation right now. We're forced
No, we
into
shouldn't
it.
be. Nope. Yeah. Yeah. Like, yeah, strangled into it, something like that.
Still cool with that.
Okay,
Amani
let's
is just
go.
voicing the crazy
Well,
parts of my
and you know, she and I have
brain.
spoken about that a bit, and I mean, the reality is she's co-hosted in Time, and so that means that her other projects are something that we, as our own, you know, show are willing to discuss and engage on. And I don't know where she's going to land on it, what she wants to do, but we've offered assistance as well, and we obviously have a production team, and we have the ability to assist Atheist Edge. So it's you know, if it's something where she and Chris and yourself would want some assistance with, would be happy to engage with that. So we're talking with her about it, and we're actually going to talk about that, I think, later
Well,
today.
it's a three-way partnership, but they are encouraged to grow this. After I leave, well, after I step back in a limited capacity, they're free to make whatever they want out of this channel. It's a and being an odd number, we vote on everything. Like when we booked David Silverman, but it got voted down.
Question.
Go for it.
Just to note.
Because I was
then
about to do the
assume they voted-
exact same thing.
Damn you, my twin. I mean, my daughter. I mean, my what? I forget what we are now.
We're the same
But-
person.
All right,
Okay,
let's
so
go.
you all
Sister
vote
wives.
on things. So now we know that your intentions and the way that you were going to handle the Kyle interview was agreed on by at least another party. So that means that either you did not keep your promise to them the way you didn't keep your promise to me and Steve, or you misrepresented to them your intentions, or you told them that you were going to do exactly what you actually did do, and so they're okay with it. There's no two ways about that. It's one or the
We should
other.
probably also point out that the Atheist Edge used to also be 4 people up until just after, not too long before the Kyle Curtis interview, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't imagine why somebody would want to leave.
Yeah,
At the
no, it's
time.
a complete
But
mystery.
it was a majority vote to go ahead and not invite him to the show.
Mm.
I'm not saying whether I personally was happy with that decision, but again, it was a majority vote. And yeah, and learning from the Kyle and Steve thing, we made sure to do a contract also. So we have that, and that's very important as well.
Yeah.
Contract.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Kyle, I'd like to.
What?
You have
Learning-
nothing to apologize for.
Oh, thank you. I know I'm the Canadian one. What? All right, so sorry, I'm having a moment.
for
You
it.
are saying that you have a contract because you learned from the Kyle and Steve situation. You knew enough about that situation to employ your decisions moving forward in business. But when you're talking to the person that informed your decisions moving forward with business, you completely forgot about all those reasons?
Oh my
I'm
goodness.
sorry, I'm confused. I'm a hysterical dumb woman. I'm a simp. I don't know what I'm talking
goodness.
about.
So
Why am I confused and maybe a little standoffish about associating with you in the future?
yeah, because he forgets at convenience by the looks of it. I'm going to say it straight up. Like, so Sweet caught that. That was cool. That was really cool what she caught there. So they had a contract with Kyle, or with their with their members of Atheist Church, other Atheist Church members.
Yeah, the other 2
I think so.
members, yes.
Yeah, because they learned from the Kyle and Steve situation. So by that thing, so this guy Jim knew that what was going on between Kyle and Steve. So, and then he couldn't hold Kyle accountable in his interview.
Yeah,
After
and
doing all that?
specifically, he does say he doesn't agree with Kyle whatsoever, but when Kyle was giving excuses or whatever he was saying, because who cares what Kyle says, he didn't question him about any of the contracts with Steve or any of the situations with Steve about how any of that was actually being handled.
Right. Somehow
He didn't
none of
call
that
him out.
sparked it. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
And it didn't spark in his mind. He just forgot. He didn't hear. He was zoned out. He wasn't listening. And again, if all of these are actual honest reasons why this happened, and I think that people are going to kind of be hard pressed to believe that they are.
Then you're shitty at your job. Don't do this job. This job's not for you. Go for another job, mate. Sorry.
Yeah,
I just
no, because you're at least appearing dishonest. You're hurting people. We were very explicit and told you exactly how people were going to react. Not me, not Steve. How other people would react. People in the community. It was very clear. It was agreed on. It was understood. And then what happened.
Hey, listen,
and I'm not allowed to be like,
camera.
huh?
Hold on, y'all. I gotta come back on camera really quick. You guys need to watch your tone.
I'm so sorry.
Okay, see, right now, like I'm being more aggressive right now than Chesh was in Steve's chat and Steve's stream.
Well, we can watch
I'm
that.
feeling very attacked right now. The hostility in this chat
It's
is
all
just too
directed
much, guys.
totally towards
It's
Nikki.
too much.
100%.
Yes.
We're all mad at Nikki. Quick, everybody look at Nikki in your Discord. All right.
Don't look at me. I'm sensitive.
All right, are we ready to keep going?
Yeah.
I just needed to pop back up on camera just to
No, it's fine.
tell you guys to, cool
All
your
right.
tempers.
All right. You really want to hear the tone now? Okay, let's go for it then. Man,
The
don't.
vapors.
I got the
vapors.
vapors. I have the vapors.
Cut the
first interview. I will.
Oh yes, it was.
Yeah. I will tell everyone right up front. I'm still in the process. It's back and forth. It's not that Kyle's dragging his feet, or he's got a lot of things going on. In his personal life that.
No, sorry. I just did it.
Wait.
Sorry.
Wait a minute.
There's not much else to express to that other than laughter.
Kyle's totally not dragging his feet, guys. He definitely didn't use Jim for any kind of credibility, and then when Jim got his credibility destroyed, he may or may not try to go on somebody else's show. Yeah.
Wait a minute. What is it Jim said in Steve's stream? That maybe being overly, and I'm paraphrasing, I could pull up the exact quote, but basically being overly charitable and trusting people without a reason to could be detrimental to your life and your business. And he's learning things in the stream. This was after that stream.
Yes,
But he was made aware of everything that. So there's no excuse that he did not know the harm that was being caused by this. And he's still riding that train of Kyle's not such a bad guy. He is misunderstood.
He's having he's totally not ditching. He's totally not ditching me on interviewing him later. Definitely not.
So
yeah, he's busy. He was totally open to before, and he's fine to go on in time and do all this stuff. But he can't be bothered to give me literally 5 minutes of his time to answer a few pointed questions.
It's almost like he's busy with a lawsuit or something.
Yeah.
yeah.
The papers that he was served. The papers that he was served.
The original papers that I was served. All right, here we go.
All right.
So we've missed two different. We booked him twice, and we've had to postpone twice already. So I've still, as of right now, I don't know when this recording is going to go out, but we are still planning a part 2 interview. Here's why: because I feel I failed Steve and certain members of my viewership and his viewership in too big.
Pause.
Sorry,
Hold up.
no,
this is my turn real quick. Hold on a second.
Let's go for it.
He just said we originally booked Kyle for 2, and he's had to backtrack twice, but the only reason he's bringing Kyle on again after he already booked 2 is because he felt he messed up the first time. Does anybody else catch that? Yeah, does anybody else catch the that doesn't work?
I heard that, and clarify, I heard that as he's saying that since that interview, they have twice tried to book, and it's both fallen through.
So I'll play it again, but what I heard was that he had booked Kyle originally for 2 times, and they've had to cancel twice. So he came on once, but they've had to cancel that second interview twice. And then he said that the reason he had that he wanted to bring him on again was to rectify all the mistakes, but he'd already said that they'd already booked him 2 times anyway. He actually says that, if I'm not mistaken, in his original video with Kyle, he actually does say that Kyle was going to come back on. And we are getting a touch of an echo from Sweet right now. So are your headphones actually plugged in all the way? You're all good.
they are, but I'll mute myself if I'm not talking, just in case.
No, it's all good. All right,
Okay.
we're gonna put this back a little bit, and then I will put this back on. And a plunk, and there we go.
Honestly, my biggest thing about the whole Jim interview with Kyle is I was just disappointed he didn't give him any, like, hold him accountable at all. I like an iota of accountability, just literally being like, dude, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Just that alone would have satisfied me, but the entire time he's like, oh well, I did this wrong, and we all did this wrong, and we're all at fault, and it's like, no, like, people are mad
Honey,
for a reason. Please help
you are
him
the only one who
accountable.
did it wrong, so please
Yeah.
don't
Like,
involve everybody.
5% of that anger, of that frustration, of, you know, all of that, just 5% of that geared towards holding him accountable at least a little bit would have satisfied me, but I literally got none of that. I got none of that from any of the interviews.
You'd think if he was so pissy at me, he would have had something to say to Kyle, given he cared so much about non-sequitur show.
After already learning,
because that's all he would say is, oh, I miss non-sequitur show and blah blah blah. I was like, okay, well, could you ask him some hard questions, please?
I'm pretty
like,
sure it sounded something like this.
Yeah. Well, and this stems back to even when we met in Texas, that when he had an opportunity to talk about non-sec at the book club, he immediately was like, non-sec was set to be the next best atheist channel or something like that. And Steve immediately corrected him, like, it's not an atheist channel. Anybody who cares about non-sec knows it's not an atheist channel. Absolutely. But this is his best friend's and his brother's livelihood, and he doesn't know the basic thing. And Steve let that go. He was just like, whatever, because that's the kind of guy he is.
Yeah.
It's one of many things since that he's let go, and I feel horrible.
He's got a lot of things going on in his personal life that so we've missed two different we booked him twice and we've had to postpone twice already. So I'm still, as of right now, I don't know when this recording is going to go out, but we are still planning a part 2 interview. Here's why: because I feel I failed Steve and certain members of.
Okay, so yeah, I'm willing to be corrected on that, but it sounds like, and if I'm remembering his interview properly, he had booked Kyle twice initially, and that Kyle was gonna come back, and then now he's saying that his reason. It is possible that his reasoning has changed, but yeah, I'm willing to be corrected on this one way or another. It doesn't really, not a big deal.
It's fine. No, it's fine. It's also worth mentioning that it's confusing because there's a lot of moving parts, and different people are being told different things in private than what's being shown in public. So this is something we're kind of trying to reconcile and figure out, hey, so-and-so is telling me you said this, I'm hearing this from this person, and I'm seeing this in public, and none of it adds up. And so we're left to draw the conclusions we're left to draw, which again would have been completely left alone if Jim did not keep bringing me and Chesh up in public.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Here we go.
My viewership and his viewership in 2 big ways. I should have asked about, does Kyle think that from the get-go it was a 50-50 partnership? And 2, see, I can't even remember again. Gosh damn it, I got it written somewhere. See, you guys think, you ever heard of Hanlon's razor, Nicholas?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know.
Hanlon's razor is, don't attribute to malice that which you can more easily put to incompetence. And you know,
oh, don't worry. Most of the time we do not.
That's bloody incompetent of you, bro.
I just want to
we
note
all
that
went and jumped on that
it's
one.
Lovely. It's lovely that we recognize the same red flags. That's wonderful. Oh my god.
Let me just take a deep breath and have some water. Fucking moron.
Tell us how you really feel, Manya.
Go, Manya, go. You go first.
I'm laughing at Nikki, like she's going like, you know, those anti-hero characters who like stand in a corner and like laugh quietly, and then
they just laugh from the shadows.
Chesh is our anti-hero. She's our Deadpool. Oh wait, I can't call you Deadpool because that just lends credence to the fact that you're modeling yourself after Reds.
Wait, I'm modeling myself after Reds? Do you have any idea how many of my jokes that motherfucker's stolen?
Oh!
Do you have any
I'm
idea?
very sure about that. All right. Like, hold on, coming up.
To be fair, when I first showed up in the community, it was definitely a Lady Deadpool idea, and then people were trying to hook Reds and I up in Lady Deadpool, which is really funny because they're the same person, and if you've ever seen the comic, they actually made out once in Deadpool Corpse, and they were both like, that's weird, let's never do that again.
Which according to Deadpool, is surprising to me. Because I feel like Deadpool would be all over that action. My favorite thing is when she's like, oh, hey, I see Spider-Man. Let me do some, like, flexible moves and hit on him.
The irony of the Deadpool, Lady Deadpool thing is that Lady Deadpool gets married and hooks up with Headpool, which is another Deadpool, male Deadpool, from another universe that is a zombie only ahead. So...
All right. We all know what's happening there.
We've gotten sidetracked. Go
a little bit.
Go ahead, Manya.
All right, so after being 7 odd years on YouTube, you don't know still how you function, right? You forget things and maybe write them down a bit, and you know, you can use that excuse once or twice, but if it were in my office and I gave that excuse every time, they would be like, girl, you gotta go and get yourself checked, or you gotta find a tool that will help you remember your shit. Because then it comes down to incompetence because you're not doing anything about it. Seriously. Yes, sweet.
Also, yes, thank you, Manya. Also, to back that up, I just want to call attention to the fact that when Jim was talking to Steve and their conversation together, he was very clear to say that he had all the information and he knew exactly where to go to look at it and to educate himself. These are his words. If anyone does not believe me, if they want a timestamp, if they can't find it, hit me up. I have it logged. But he said that he knew where everything was. He knew the information and he had it available. So at the very best, he failed to brief himself and remind himself of what was going on before that interview to be prepared. After he was completely told more than once on several occasions, at least I won't say several because I'm not going to speak for private conversations. I mean, there's so much you can do, but Steve and I can both corroborate for what we talked about in Texas and what we talked about on the call. And then there was a Facebook conversation too, where I immediately was like, hey, it's awesome you're doing the interview because you know what's going on. Because I knew that we had these conversations, that he was completely caught up on everything that was going on. And he agreed. And the people, even that he brought up later, he agreed were scummy people that did horrible things to us based on the fallout from the non-sec and based on people's their big sin of being Steve's friend. That they got attacked and that was bad. And then he went out of his way to bring up the fact that he was having them around his channel and he would continue to talk to and be friends with these people. And it was so great because we're going to be his friends no matter what, which was true. We were not faulting him for that. We let that go. But he threw that in our face as like a guilt thing. Like, oh, well, hey, if you stop talking to me now, it looks like it's because of this and because you didn't approve of this.
I have one final piece of information that I'm gonna drop at the end of this, just to bring this whole thing together. It's just one little screenshot that I got that it's just a nice little nugget that talking about the people who are around Jim's channel, and it's just like a nice little nugget that just anybody who knows my theory on the universe will know exactly what I'm talking about. So if you don't know what that is, hang on till the end, and subscribe and shit. But whatever. What did you want to say, Monty?
So at this point, it's either he's incompetent or he does not take it seriously. He just doesn't care, and he's just doing it for the sake of unprofessional. Yeah, he doesn't care. Either it's incompetency or you don't care about it, or what else it can be. That you're not making the effort. If you're going to bring up someone or some topic or your interview and you can't defend it properly, then either you don't take it seriously and you don't take the damage you have caused seriously, or you're highly incompetent. So then maybe maybe that was a wake-up call for him to step back and just go back and rethink what he wants to do if he wants to be on YouTube. Maybe that's what but he didn't do that also correctly. That was also done incorrectly even that also.
Can I
sorry.
point
I just
out
had-
that pretty much as far as I've seen and from what I recall, nobody has accused him of being malicious. People have definitely, in particular, accused him of being incompetent and selfish. In that
And
he
a liar.
didn't care. Oh yeah, and he's a liar. He's 100% he's a liar.
Yeah.
Listen, I backed that off on Steve's channel. I'm gonna take off. I'm taking that back right now. I'm taking that back right the hell now and be like, look, I called you a liar so I could make you go move forward in the conversation to prove that you were a liar.
And that was what we call a reverse Uno, isn't it?
Yeah, essentially.
Like
yeah. It's okay, so it's actually a little bit of a tactic, and maybe I'm playing my hand here for being so malicious and such a bad person. There's a tactic in discussion and when you're talking to somebody or when you're asking for a favor from somebody that you overshoot and make the expectation something that they're not going to say yes to. Then when you ask them what you really want, they're more likely to say yes. So if I go ahead and I come swinging in a little... I did it on, if you guys recall, an old video that Adam Friended was on Steve's channel, and they were talking about something, and I came swinging in sideways as hell, and I came in, I was just like, oh really, what are you not understanding here? The biblical aspect or the history aspect? And he was like, whoa, what the fuck? And I just shook up the entire conversation. That was on purpose. I did that on purpose, but you know what didn't happen? He didn't rage quit. He got mad and was like, oh, I'm gonna leave. And I was like, okay, I'll take it back. Okay, come on. All right, I was being a dick. I want to see. I've been listening to you talk about this for 4 hours now. Let me explain to you what I think your position is. Let me give you the facts of the matter, and then you can tell me if I've got it right at least before you go. And he did, and the conversation went on for another hour and a half. This is not an unknown thing to be doing. This isn't an unknown tactic, right? But it really helps on people who are not... It's useful when people are not telling the truth. You say, you're lying, and they go and explain how they're not lying, and if their explanation doesn't line up, they're lying! Or if they don't immediately walk back what they were saying, they don't take that back and correct it, then they're like, oh, okay, well, no, I got it wrong. But the thing is in that conversation, he did that, didn't actually accept it, didn't accept that what he was saying was completely incorrect, and then went ahead and did it again, which I can then demonstrate, well, now you're absolutely lying because you're looking at it on your screen. I can see you looking at it. You said you were pulling it up. Now you're looking at it and completely misrepresenting what it said. So, are you stupid? Incompetence?
To pull up himself, maybe.
Maybe. Full of something.
All right.
Maybe he's all filled up from Kyle from that interview still. I mean, what? I didn't...
His ego.
All right, did we lose Sweet? I know she's muted and we lost her camera.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, she typed in the chat,
okay. That. I'll take a look. Sorry, go ahead.
I remember that example. That guy was annoying. Ugh.
I thought it was funny.
That's all.
Yeah, it was a good time.
No, that guy, personally, though.
Oh, yeah, fair enough.
That whole entire debate was so frustrating to watch, and then you come in and then we had a real discussion after that.
Had a good time. We needed to shake things up a bit. It was it was a really frustrating conversation. I agree with that. For sure. All right, are we ready to jump into the next bit?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
A lot of the criticisms levied against me. Yeah, a lot of the criticisms levied against me from the first interview was because I was out to get Steve, or I was secretly in bed with Kyle.
Who the fuck said that?
Who said that? Seriously, I was like, what? Really?
Maybe he had trolls in his chat saying that.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
maybe.
came back just in time. No.
Hey.
Literally, all right, at least nobody from our side in this group of people in the non-sec crowd, I haven't seen one person say that. If anything,
maybe I might have said
maybe
something.
Manya. All right, Manya's kind of a rogue agent. Whatever.
Yeah, I'm a rogue agent. I do my own thing. Yeah, as if it's as if I have my own brains or something,
Yeah. I was just gonna say, what a horrible thing that all four of us
for
on here.
herself.
Yeah, imagine all four.
Oh my God.
And this is a
I
good
got
time to express
brains.
this too. and I said this before, the views of one person on this stream do not necessarily reflect the views of the entire
Yeah.
show
No,
because we
but
have our own thoughts.
Come on.
Nikki
No,
is
just by
100% on
association.
point.
Can I
I think so, what
qualify?
I-
Can I qualify for
Yes,
Manya a little bit?
But
in
no.
that we were saying that he was definitely sucking Kyle's dick. So when she was saying he was
Oh.
getting in bed with him, that may be hyperbole for that situation.
fair.
What I actually said was that he threw Steve under the bus. That's not saying that he was attacking Steve. That's very different. So
Yeah,
that
it's
is,
not
like, it
I'm
was
just
some
qualifying.
deep throat
I'm
work,
just,
you know?
yeah. I'm saying if
It-
someone thinks that is me saying that, Jim was attacking Steve, no, that's not that. That's like you are throwing your friend under the bus. Yeah, that can be done intentionally or unintentionally, right? You might not know about it, you might be doing it, and it was my perception, and that's that. That's the only comment I think from me.
Yeah, the main reason why I wanted to pause this is I wanted to make a note here real quick because the way he frames this, because just after this he jumps into going on about us, so it kind of frames as if he's referring that we're the ones saying this. Now, that might not be what he intended to say, but that is kind of how it comes across.
Yeah. All right.
Sweet, you're muted.
Oh, I'm muted. Sorry. It's just like when he was trying to tell people that I'm upset because he talked to Kyle. I was never upset that he talked to Kyle. It was never an issue.
Yeah, nobody cared about that.
Again, go back to the
Execution.
the first time I learned about the interview, I was like, hey, great. I'm glad you're doing it because you know what's going on. I was literally supportive. I was openly
Oh,
supportive.
absolutely.
I don't know
We
how
have-
many
I think
times.
everybody was excited.
Yeah,
I don't know
we
how
thought it
many
was going to be
times-
something different.
I don't know how many times in my review of their interview, I do not know how many times I said, nobody cares if you have Kyle on. We care about, and nobody cares that you're nice to Kyle. What we care is that you were sucking his dick.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like in this stream, he was saying that, holding people accountable. All right, it's all right to be nice, but you can still hold people accountable for their actions.
Yep.
And he failed. That's what we were mad about. We have never
Not
said
one
like
iota.
not to talk to the opposite side.
Right.
That's never nothing like that.
And he said in his talk with Steve that he's open to harsh criticism. He draws the line in hostility, but he's open to harsh criticism. But when Red's rhetoric says there's going to be some harsh criticism for you, he says, oh, I can be hostile too. Do you want to see that side of me? That's his response.
We can look through those if we want later.
He conflates the word.
It's just, moving on.
Conveniently.
Guess what? It's just because
I could be painting right now.
I'm not
I got same thing.
You
Same
get
thing. I
paid
get a
while we
lot
do
of
this?
claims of malice or whatever.
I could, you're
was just an idiot. I was just stupid.
Anyway, 50-50 partnership.
I'm so down.
See, I've got 7 questions now for him, and I've got them written down.
Nikki.
Do you have? What's the name of your lawyer, for instance? Did you?
Yeah.
What's the name of your lawyer is a crummy question. I just want to say that. It's a crummy question because we know Kyle's been lying about having a lawyer the whole time. A better question would be, why did you lie about having a lawyer?
And he knew that he lied about having a lawyer because that was covered on multiple occasions. If I have to keep saying that, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Right. There's almost irrefutable proof that he did not, like, almost irrefutable proof that he did not have a lawyer. Like, come on.
He may have had some legal advice from some people who may not be named that have since been shown to be completely incompetent at what they do and may not even actually be a lawyer. So if he thinks that's, that counts as having a lawyer, maybe he was not speaking dishonestly. Maybe he really thought he had a lawyer that he could actually confide in and get legal advice from. However, he demonstrably did not have a lawyer tied to this case officially at all.
Yeah, that paperwork that he
and that was a
submitted.
lie.
Legitimately,
Can
that
I
is an
also-
incredibly fair analysis.
Can I also point out that
Thank you.
that my question that I proposed would have brought out an answer like that? Why did you lie about this? Oh, I didn't. I thought I did have a lawyer, blah, 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 blah. But the question, what's the name of your lawyer, won't bring out that answer, which is why it's a better question.
I think you could argue there's a happy medium in there, but I understand what you're saying. Your approach has a method to its madness, but at the same time, the argument is you could have also said, you said that you had a lawyer. That's been demonstrated to not be the case. Can you please explain?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
It's
absolutely.
almost as if someone like me that has absolutely no experience interviewing something can form a question in a way that actually puts it forth.
Yeah,
Like, come on.
That's why I'm saying he's incompetent, or he doesn't care. Simple as that.
Well, even after listening to the criticism and saying that he's got access to all the information, this is the kind of question he fucking comes back with. Which is trash. All right, here we go.
But we're not supposed to take question with that. Yep.
Yeah. Yep. If you question it, you got to watch your tone, because it's not the tone; it's actually the question. All right, move.
Obviously.
You send Steve's videos to your lawyer, like you said you did. The 50-50 partnership in perpetuity. Do you admit to saying that on camera? And I want to show him the new affidavit.
I'm sorry, I'm getting caught up on these questions. I'm sorry. Do you admit to getting caught saying that on camera? There's a video clip of it. Why would it matter if he admits to it or not? What the actual fuck are these? Okay, whatever. I'm moving on. I'm sorry. That's stupid.
Can we skip the questions? Those are like the shittiest questions I've ever heard.
The new information that was put in, and the original court order that. And I want to ask him, why are you not following the original court order to return all the assets? So why didn't I ask that the first time? I have no fucking clue. And people say you got wrapped up in his charm.
Because
and
you're incompetent.
like, no, you know what? I look for the best in everybody, even someone like him who I
stop
vehemently.
So apparently
I have to call something out.
Okay, go on.
Sorry, Manya. I have to call something out. This is a good example of why did I fail? Let me straw man the main positions of why I failed or what I did wrong into the most extreme of that I did something malicious or bad, and then tell everybody, no, actually, I was trying to be morally upright and I was trying to do the right thing. People just misunderstood it. And in that, there is absolutely no accountability for what actually happened based on conversations you had with other people. It's completely, this is what people are saying I did wrong in the worst way. Here's what I'm saying my intentions were. You can believe the worst of the worst or believe me, but completely ignore everybody in the middle that is actually giving perspective on what really happened in the situation. Yeah. Or maybe I'm just a hysterical woman. I don't know.
It's your tone, man. It's your tone.
It's my tone.
And I'll add here. So apparently
it
you
is
could
her tone.
see. Okay.
She needs to get punched in the face.
Yes. I have to keep an arm's length from him at all times moving forward. Yeah, but I shouldn't feel uncomfortable being near him anymore.
Oh, no. I did not see that.
I'm irrational. I'm irrational for being around someone that explicitly said that if somebody who has a tone is with them in real life, he would physically assault them.
Oh yeah, don't worry, we'll get there.
Absolutely, yeah.
We'll get there.
A man who literally
say...
described violent force that he wanted to take. But sure, I feel totally comfortable.
Yeah,
totally gaslight my position of fear. It's okay.
Isn't that just what a dom does? Hit me, Jim.
No, they
hit me harder.
Care for your positions of fear, and they nurture those positions of fear in the healthiest way possible.
Really?
They absolutely do.
Nikki knows.
I know.
So I just had to throw that dig in there.
Yeah.
I have to say another thing.
I am fiercely defensive of that stuff.
Good, you should be. That's why I brought it up. That's the point. Bring that shit out, man.
Moving on.
All right. I just want to say one thing though. He said he looks he looks for the best in everybody. Apparently he couldn't do that in Reds and Shesh for some reason, and neither Sweets.
Oh. Well, we'll get to that too because he said, "I know." Quote, semi-quote. I'm sorry. I'll paraphrase. I'll say I'm paraphrasing for the sake of the argument until I can put the actual quote. But he said something along the lines of, I know Chesh's heart. I know she's a good person.
Oh, yeah.
Chesh is laughing. She remembers. So he said that. And then afterwards, after everybody said they wanted to squash it and just like, we can handle this in the background. It can be taken care of. We can see what we can do to rectify the situation. He publicly blasts Cheshire for doxing him after she apologized for an accidental showing of DMs he told her to show.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm jumping around a little bit.
On the other hand of that too, but he said he knew my heart and that I was a good person, but I still need to look out if I ever go to Texas.
Yeah, keep an arm's length, because, you know, he's not responsible for his actions.
Oh, godless scummer for
Shesh
Jim
has a good
says.
heart. Shesh has a
If he
good
blacks
heart.
out.
Yeah. But because of her tone, Shesh has a good heart, but because of her tone, I'm going to completely dismiss her argument.
No, not I'm going to completely dismiss her. I am likely to harm her if I see her in public, is what he said.
Ooh,
Yep.
that gave me chills, man.
Godless scummer for 2 says Rudy Giuliani is Kyle's lawyer.
Oh, that was a good
No,
one.
because you'd think that if he was Kyle's lawyer, he would be on YouTube publicly saying that, no, he totally didn't do this thing that I'm showing you a piece of paper that he's doing. All right, here we go. Oh, and before I start playing it, I should probably turn on the screen share, shouldn't I? I almost messed that up, but I didn't. Look at me go. I'm getting better at this. Look at the quality of this show is just improving. It's fantastic. Look at me go. All right, here we go.
With
We're
what he did,
big
the actions
timers.
were- Everybody, well, with certain possible exceptions. I mean, there are some extreme cases where some people are not worthy of redemption. I don't believe him to be one of them. I believe even he is worthy of redemption if he were to start making some changes right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have a couple of opinions on that. Our business manager has actually reached out to him. We had thought about interviewing him, and there's some pros and cons. We're officially extending it. We would like to interview him. You know, we've had on occasion guests where it's been sort of a hostile situation. We still try to be very respectful of our guests, so he could expect we're probably doing most, if not all, the questions in advance. I think you've clearly covered, I think, what would be a lot of the questions that people would want to know. I think with your first interview, the title was...
What did he say?
When I was looking at it as an interview, I was just like, whoa, dude. But you explained actually very clearly early on that it wasn't an interview, despite what the title said, which I think is where a lot of the confusion. You experienced that this was really your chance to rectify something that you thought you had done wrong, and I was impressed with that. And I think that's a good quality. I think if more people did that now, I think in my view there has to be a couple of caveats to this kind of. Let's assume that you felt that you had jumped to a whole bunch of conclusions and you didn't treat them fairly. Let's assume that even 80% of those conclusions ended true, but you still didn't give them necessarily the benefit of the doubt. You still shouted him down. You still engaged in sort of tribalistic activity or whatever else you still may very well feel you owe him an apology. I think that's a good thing, because we should, regardless of the consequences, we should always try to be fair, and we should try to be. And so if your complaint was that you didn't follow your own standard, you wanted to apologize, I think that's a really good thing.
Nick, can we just hit these one at a time, because I'm writing so many notes.
Yeah.
I fear I'm
Oh, sure.
Yeah, okay. So let's
yeah.
the name of
now
it,
he
absolutely
takes
correct.
notes.
How convenient.
Oh.
Yeah, now it's okay to take notes.
It was
now it matters.
Hey, you at least need to change that title, because it really wasn't an interview. It was basically you getting some shit off your chest. So guess what I did? It's one of our 23 commandments for our show. Admit when you're wrong and never double down. So what did I do? And you know who gave me that advice? Is somebody
What the fuck?
was hostile to me.
Jackpot of bullshit.
But it was still good advice.
Jackpot of bullshit.
What the fuck was that?
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to be the calm one in this. I'm done.
Go for it.
Done. I am just done.
Go, do it. Say what you want to say.
Because I haven't. All right, I heard this once. I watched this video once, and I haven't since. I reviewed some other stuff leading up to it, because when we heard this again, I wanted to be able to respond to it in a way that I was not missing anything. I had checked with the people I had to check with to see what the conversations were that were had, that I was not misrepresenting anything or was not remembering anything incorrectly. Please, someone reiterate what he just said to me.
Oh, I'll play it again.
Play it again.
Oh God.
It's important. No, this is really important.
No, it is. It's just such bullshittery.
Especially when I'm
at the
being
end of the day.
gaslit to look like I'm a complete
Yes.
moron.
No, it's like I completely understand your frustration, and it's just like, are you fucking serious?
Play it again, Dill.
This guy.
That
go
you
for it.
felt that you had jumped to a whole bunch of conclusions and
Go
you didn't
back
treat
up.
them fairly. Let's assume that even 80% of those conclusions ended
Actually, I'm going to do one better. I'm going to slow it down, because we're at 1.5 speed. Let's hear it at normal speed.
Yeah, let's go for it.
being true, but you still didn't give him necessarily the benefit of the doubt. You still shouted him down. You still engaged in sort of tribalistic activity or whatever else you still may very well feel you owe him an apology. And I think that's a good thing, because we should, regardless of the consequences, we should always try to be fair, and we should try to be. And so if your complaint was that you didn't
they talk so
follow your own standard,
slow.
you wanted to
Yeah,
apologize, I think
it's
that's
more
that's a
painful
really
because I'm
good
catching
thing.
more stuff
Nick,
on
can we
slower
just hit
speed,
these
but
one at a
that's
time,
for
because
another
I'm
time.
writing so many notes.
Yeah.
I fear I'm gonna.
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. So let's the
Yeah,
name
Nick.
interview. Absolutely.
Yeah, Nick, slow down. You're talking too fast.
Yeah. Oh my God, he's so slow and clear. Like the.
correct?
It's just,
It was brought to my attention, hey, you at least need to change that title.
He's doing
because
to
it
him
really
what he did
wasn't
to
an
Steve.
interview. It was basically you getting some shit off your chest. So guess what I did? It's one of our 23 commandments for our show. Admit when you're wrong and never double down. So
I do believe that's what you were looking for, was it not?
Yes, that's what she was
I
looking
honestly,
for.
I don't want to spoil it. So I'm just going to say that after this all went down and he acted the way he did and he said what he said to us after the fact in private and in public, everything together, that led me to the conclusion of telling Steve in private that, hey, I don't feel comfortable being around this guy anymore. When we go out and we do stuff and we hang out and we go to meetups and we do different things, I'm not going to fault you if you want to try to rectify your friendship with this person. I hope that works out. For my issues and my own PTSD, I do not feel comfortable being around this person. That is all I said. And then Steve was so moved by that, which is his right. I didn't tell him to say anything or do anything about it. I was just like, hey, please don't get mad at me if I don't want to be around this particular person. There was no other consequence of that. But he felt like he wanted to say publicly, and he responded with that. Not only did he owe Chesh an apology, but he owed me an apology for making me feel uncomfortable the way that he did. And at the time, he completely agreed. And he said that what I did was wrong, and I'm sorry that I made Sweet feel that way. And I hope that we can fix this. And I was very explicit and clear about what he had to do to gain my trust back.
Yeah.
But always admit you're wrong and never double down. Can we please keep playing the video?
Oh yeah, his commandment number
Just
23.
repeat it.
Yeah.
No, they have 23 commandments.
Yeah, so this is his
Yeah, and he
23rd commandment.
follows the ones that are convenient when they're convenient.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
what did I do?
That's
And
when
you know
you
who gave
find
me
the
that
true measure
advice?
of a person.
Somebody
though.
that was hostile
Exactly,
to me.
Nikki.
The face he makes when he says me. Look at this. Oh god, I can't. It's so funny. Watch this. Watch his.
I can't see it, but
If you click on me, you can make it bigger and you'll be able to see
yes,
it.
I can. Okay, all right, here we go.
Okay, you ready?
Follow your own standard. You wanted to apologize. I think that's a really good thing.
Nick, can we just hit these one at a time because I'm writing so many notes?
Yeah.
I fear I'm gonna...
Oh, sure.
Oh, yeah, okay. So let's...
Yeah.
The name interview, absolutely correct. It was brought to my attention, hey, you at least need to change that title because it really wasn't an interview. It was basically you getting some shit off your chest. So guess what I did? It's one of our 23 commandments for our show. Admit when you're wrong and never double down. So what did I do? And you know who gave me that advice? Is somebody that was hostile to me. Was
So hostile. So hostile. And
I
can we
just love his face. I just love his face.
I'm so shit and tired. I'm so tired of this shit that he is always focusing on. This is a classic tactic of trying to minimize someone's. Oh yeah, I followed it, but it wasn't that big of a deal because it's hostile. The tone. Fuck you. You're shooting the messenger. Can you just focus on the message maybe and not try and minimize it?
This is exactly what I said, that you can't, all right, you were completely briefed. Again, I feel like I'm repeating myself, but I'm sorry, it's important. You were completely briefed. You went out of your way to make sure to ask, how do you guys feel about this? What are the consequences? We had a long conversation. And if you were drunk and you don't remember, hey, I can empathize with that. I've been drunk and I've not remembered things. The time I met you and we had this whole interaction that we had with a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff I don't remember. But that's not the point. That's not the point. You know what I didn't do? I didn't make any promises to people that weren't based on reality of what I was actually intending to do. These are things that people don't do when they're drunk. It's a completely different thing.
So you mean like a lie?
Yeah, it kind of sounds like a lie.
So you mean like a lie?
And I was charitable. When I first did my first comment, the one that broke his heart so much that now he somehow feels like he doesn't care about. When I first made that comment, I was being as charitable as possible. And I was trying to reconcile the idea that maybe you were just mistaken or maybe whatever. But you have to understand that going after Chesh for being upset about something that on the face of it looks like a really underhanded thing, and blaming her for her tone which honestly, I'm sorry, was not that bad.
We'll show
I
that
think
at
I'm
some
being more
point.
hostile now, but yeah, it's the way it's emotion. When people are speaking with passion, and you do it too. Jim does it all
Yeah.
the time. He speaks with passion,
Yeah.
and that's okay. And when Steve speaks with passion towards Jim, that's okay. Because Steve was a little bit more hostile, I think, and a little bit more confrontational in some of the things
Oh
that he
yeah.
said to him, calling him out on his friendship, saying that this is not the way that friends act.
Yeah.
But Jim was okay with that. That was okay because he knew that
Yeah.
Steve, at the end of the day, was gonna take his side.
Well,
He
I
had that
didn't,
confidence.
Yeah, I didn't. He wasn't too. He didn't like the tone that I use when I read. All right.
Yeah, when you
Yeah.
read facts.
Maybe it was what
And
you were
holding-
reading.
Yeah, it's
Right.
more than that too. And yeah, it's.
We'll get there when we
that-
get to that part. We'll play the bit that he got so butthurt about, but we're gonna let him get to his point. But yeah, go ahead.
To me, that's the thing though, is as soon as I see people acting a different way towards another person who is being an equal amount of hostile to a woman, I do this all the time. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I grew up in a very religious household where there was a lot of sexism, but I tend to really sometimes read into the tone people have with women and then compare that with men. And I'm not saying anything about Jim, but I am saying that it did cross my mind that he was especially upset because she was female. Now, I'm not saying that this is anything that to read into, but I'm saying that that's what I took out of it. And when a person shows that they have a set of what was it? His commandments?
His commandments.
His constituents?
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. But that's the thing, though, is when you're a person who has a set of morals that they adhere to, but then they change those morals according to how easy it is in the situation, that's how you can get more of a read on a person. Like, being a good person is hard sometimes. And like, this is a very light comparison, but I refuse to eat at a place, an establishment like Chick-fil-A, because it they donate to anti-LGBTQ plus establishments that basically
They lobby, yeah.
go against, they lobby against literally being who somebody is as themselves. So I don't eat there, but that's one of my favorite places to eat. Like, it's literally it is super good. But as soon as I changed my what I believe in, I stopped going there. Now that's difficult for me, especially when I'm hungry. And again, this is much more difficult. This is a very light version. But,
No, it's a great
you know,
analogy. It's a really great
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. The harder it is to stick to your morals, the better a person is. So if you can't stick to a moral for one person and then you just change it for another, that just means that you're not that great of a
Right, and
person.
this
You're not
is
a person
why
that I would per se trust. especially.
100%, and that's how I felt, and that's why I was so upset that he put Steve in this situation of making him feel like, one, he didn't remember conversations the way he remembered them. If I hadn't been in those conversations too, Steve would have very easily been gaslit by this. And I'm sorry, Steve, to throw you under the bus like that to make it sound like you're
No, Steve
easily
is
manipulated.
really bad at telling when somebody is lying to him.
He loves so openly and so genuinely with people.
I literally told him this 2 days ago.
Maybe we have that in common. You know, I accept my own shortcomings. I accept the fact that I've made mistakes in trusting people a little too much too fast. I'm learning that too. But that's, you know, to put him in that position, your brother, the person you love so much and means so much to you, but yet you elevate people that you admitted were horrible for doing what they did to him and his friends. And then to do this, to promise that you were going to handle something a certain way, and then do the complete opposite, and then act like the victim when people are upset about that, and act like I'm only upset because of the hostility you showed towards Chesh. That was a very small part of the whole thing. And you completely, you didn't mention anything else, not the disinformation or the lies, or whatever you want to frame it, the wrongdoing that you did. You didn't address any of that in this conversation with Nick. All you did was say that Sweet overreacted basically for what I said. And everything else she said doesn't matter because I'm not even going to comment on that, even though that was a big part of why she wants nothing to do with me.
Side note, also, I'm going to show you guys real quick. This is what he changed the title to. It's an apology to Kyle Curtis for my past behavior. He did say in his conversation with Steve that he promised he would change the title to whatever I told him to. Me being a nice guy didn't make him change it to Dick Dick Poopy Pants. I did tell him.
Once that was made clear, how long until he actually changed it?
It was a while before it got changed, and I said you needed to change this to a discussion or an apology or however you wanted to word it to that effect. And then he decided to add his own little blurb onto the end. So he still lied about that because he didn't actually change it to exactly what I told him to when he said he would change it to exactly what I told him to. Yeah, I should have made it Dick Dick Poopy Pants. I've missed an opportunity.
And it's more than that. It's much more than that because he framed it in his talk with Nick that I was such a good guy that I volunteered and I changed the name to whatever Chesh told me to change it to. No issues. However, when I discovered that the name of the interview was still the interview and had not been changed, I mean, days and days after this had gone on.
It was at least a week, yeah.
It was at least a week.
I didn't screenshot it because I didn't think we were going to talk about this again, but yeah.
Yeah, I have it. If people really want to be contentious about the date that it was changed, at me, we can talk about it. But my point is that it went on long enough where I went on to the video and I was like, wow, this still has the same name. And so I said to Steve, hey, just so you know, Jim hasn't changed the name like he said he was going to do. And I know it's been made clear to him what that was supposed to be. And he said he would do it because it was the right thing to do. Not because Chesh said, but because he knew that he fucked up and he should change it to what it should be. And he was like, yeah, okay. He took it to Jim. And the reply that I got back was, I will change the name of the video when Chesh apologizes for the way she acted and for doxing me. Now it was conditional. It wasn't based on what was the right thing to do. It was based on Chesh doing something on behalf of the rest of us, so he could do what was right by the rest of us who wanted him to do this and make this change.
That is some absolutely skeezy bullshit. I apologize for cursing. But seriously.
Apologize for the word skeezy. I kind of
love Nikki.
I want to kind of jump on a Nikki story about Chick-fil-A real quick, just because I wanted to mention, because I thought that was really interesting, because if you think like people are bad about morals in that situation, bitch, I didn't go to Subway for like 2 to 3 years because they put unskippable ads on YouTube.
Oh boy,
frankly hostile to me, but it was still good advice, and I did it for her, you know. And
hey, he just said that he did it for me. Dumbass, none of this is for me.
We had to like put so much peer pressure on him to do it for the right reason. Oh my God!
I literally did not talk to Jim after this. How is you changing the title of your fucking video do me any good?
Nothing. It's for your own benefit, you dumbass.
And again, it was after he was very clear. He changed his mind and he's like, no, it's not the right thing to do. I'm not going to do it for the right reasons. I'm going to do it only if I get this back in return from people.
Dear Lord, we made it 30 seconds. We didn't even make it 30 seconds. Ilya Moon for 149 sends a bunch of hearts. Thanks, Ilya Moon. Hello, welcome to this
you,
dumb
Moon.
shit.
Hey.
All right, we gotta let them go for a couple minutes. I swear to God. Okay, we gotta at least make it to the. At least let him go for
all right.
See if we can make it to 15. Let's go.
I have a lot of opinions about her, and I'm not going to say them because another commandment is to resort to name calling and don't engage in hostility. The way she went about that, I feel was wrong. And again,
sorry.
He feels it was wrong.
Real quick. Another commandment is not to engage in name calling, so I'm not going to say what I'm thinking. Isn't that kind of saying that you want to call her names, therefore engaging in name calling?
Well, I guess, yeah.
Like you're openly expressing that you want to call her names, that you think she fits the criteria to be called certain names, but you're not going to do it because of your code. But you're letting everybody know that she fits the criteria of these names. That's all.
But she has a good heart, you know. Her tone's bad, but her heart is good.
Right,
but
yeah.
I'm gonna call her names. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. All right. It's cool. Moving on.
I think everyone's worthy of redemption, and I think that there is a possibility that even she's smart as shit. We're talking about Chesh for viewers that don't know.
Wait, I need redemption for something?
What the fuck?
All right, moving on. I thought
you didn't lick him the way that he licked Kyle.
For being an angry woman. That's what Cheshire needs. She needs.
Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, guys, how much dick do I have to suck to apologize to you guys for appearing in the same show as you with how horrible I am as a person? Like, I mean, he made memes and he apologized so succulently. He apologized. So how succulently do I need to apologize?
Like a peach.
I mean, I'll buy the plane ticket. They're pretty cheap right now. So
you're not gonna let me over the border. All right, here we go.
Yeah. Okay.
They're not as cheap as I hoped they were. Okay.
Cheshire Vic, for those of you that don't know who we're talking about, but she's smart as hell.
Hold on.
Dear
sorry,
God.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. So,
there's so many problems in this.
So it's quite obvious he's talking about Chesh. That's what I want to say. Nick is actually clarifying it that who are you talking about, and he's talking all this about Chesh. All right, fuck him.
Yeah, we know who we're talking about. All right.
I think everyone's worthy of redemption, and I think that there is a possibility that even she's smart as shit. We're talking about Chesh for viewers that don't know Cheshire Vic, and for those of you that don't know who we're talking about, but she's smart as hell. She very detail oriented. She wants to make us enemies. She blocks me on every social media. That's unfortunate. I would.
Sorry.
Can I? Yeah. You want to go first?
Jim acknowledged and went out of his way to talk about how it is completely acceptable to disengage from somebody if you feel like they're being hostile. Jim was openly hostile to Cheshire. Jim did, after the fact, publicly go after Cheshire in ways that she did not feel comfortable with. If she wants to block him and move on with her life, he agreed that that was an acceptable thing to do. However, he wants to blow it up into some big issue. Like, he was so wronged and he's trying to be amicable. And yeah, it's easy for the abuser to go after the abused and look for a path to redemption when they're the one that actually caused the problem in the first place. That's not helpful. Like, when you say, like, oh, I want things to be okay with Sweet, but I'm going to completely drag her name out and stuff and not do a goddamn thing based on what she asked me to do or to present or to express, that's not being equally on the same page. That's you looking at somebody that says, hey, I don't feel comfortable being around you, and completely disregarding why they feel that way. Because you want your voice heard and you want to be the assertive person in the conversation.
Absolutely.
So this thing is here is, oh yeah, I had a brain fart again. Sorry, I'm so sorry.
Sorry, Manya. I probably dragged out too long.
I'll jump in here real quick.
It's easy to rant.
So I would like to point out that if I wanted to make somebody an enemy, if I wanted to, like, blow something up, I wouldn't do it by blocking you, you fucking dumbass.
Yeah, that's the point. I was like, who makes enemies? Yeah, she blocked you, so she's your enemy?
I blocked him on Twitter. I blocked him on Twitter as soon as, like, I was done. I was like, I don't care about continuing this conversation. I said enough in my video that I was not going to have a conversation with this anymore because I didn't give a shit. And then he just keeps going on about it. If I was trying to make enemies, I would be going through I would start going through his videos and nitpicking even his shit from before to ruin his credibility retroactively. I'm not trying to be your enemy. I'm not even trying to pull you apart. You did one shitty dumb thing, and I told you did one shitty and dumb thing. It was it was one thing, but it was a lot of dumb things. And now you're just stacking more dumb things on top of it, but I'm not the one trying to make enemies here. I disengaged and left the conversation.
It's
Yeah,
I can make enemies of people. I'm good at that, and I know how to go after people if I want to go after people. I am clearly not doing that here. I'm not bad at it. I'm kind of insulted that he seems to be implying that I'm shitty at it, though.
It's like
there's a lot of insults going on here.
But this is the only thing that's bothering me.
Yeah.
He's like trying to like brush everything under the carpet. Whatever criticism Shesh had, just because her tone. So all her criticism doesn't matter because of tone.
I felt attacked, so
it's an easy segue out of responsibility.
Yeah,
Sweet's right.
Segue out of responsibility.
He can have a triggered moment and leave a perfectly, but in most people's most people who assess the situation agreed that it was not a hostile situation. It was assertive, it was blunt, it was to the point. There was a little bit of, hey, you can kind of hear that I'm not happy in my voice, but it was not like, I'm going to wreck you, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going to tear down your channel. Like there was nothing in that. There was no hostile whatever. She was only telling the facts of the situation in an emotional way, the way that I am now. And we have had conversations. When I was in the car with Jim, we had conversations where I was getting emotional. It was not directed at him, granted, but we were talking about other people. And it was the way I'm talking right now. I talked about those situations and he was completely empathetic and he was all in agreement that it was bad. But when Chesh does it towards him in a less of a tone than I know people have given him before and during, because Steve, I think, gave him a little bit even more of a tone. He was okay with that. But from Chesh, because she's not his buddy, and she was going to call him out on the stuff that he got wrong.
He's the one who was saying, how could you say the word you did a piss poor job to friends? I don't think Jim has any friends, because friends talk like that to each other all the time.
And he wants all the empathy for PTSD through us. I'm sorry, we haven't even gotten there yet. Please move on.
Let's go.
All right. Back to the turning on the screen share. There we go. Okay. We gotta get through more than 2 minutes. Go!
I'd rather at least, no matter how we feel about each other, at least let the communication flow, and maybe we can resolve some shit. But
hold on a second. It's my fault this time.
As long as you realize it.
He wants to let communication flow between somebody who threw a tantrum at me and threatened me and is actively currently saying that if I'm ever around him, I have to stay out of arm's length if we ever bump into each other at conventions or anything. So I should open the line of communication. I wonder how anybody who was abused by anybody else on the internet might feel about that.
Oh, I can vouch for that. Hey, maybe it's not the best thing, and maybe when you say that you love somebody and you care about their feelings, and they've opened up to you about the emotional and physical abuse that they've experienced in their life and how it affects them in 2 different conversations at least. Maybe when they actually tell you that you behaved in a way that made them feel uncomfortable to be around you in the future, you don't just apologize to them in private and little side chats and little things that you think that they'll see, and then completely take that back later. Oh my God, have we not even gotten to that point in the video yet?
Well, we're not even there. Okay, here we go. Sweet's dying to get to this. Let's go.
Just get to it. I'm done till then.
I think everyone's worthy of redemption, and I think that there is a possibility that even she's smart as shit. We're talking about Chesh for viewers that don't know Cheshire Vic, and for those of you that don't know who we're talking about. But she's smart as hell. She very detail oriented. She wants to make us enemies. She blocks me on every social media. That's unfortunate. I would rather at least, no matter how we feel about each other, at least let the communication flow, and maybe we can resolve some shit. But yeah, she was the one that said, yeah, you should at least change the name and the name of the title. And I did. I changed it. All right, what was the next thing? Oh, jumping to conclusions and apologizing to Kyle for jumping to... No, that's not why I apologized to Kyle. I apologized for the way I went about it. Every conclusion I made so far is held up. Every nasty meme I made about him was still had a kernel of truth to this day. It's the memes themselves, the nastiness, the juvenile behavior. That's what I was apologizing for. The facts of the memes, why I'm still pissed at Kyle has not changed. Yeah. All right, so make that clear. Okay, what else?
Well, no, I think those are great points. And I said earlier, there was somebody who I really, in my view, is one of the nastiest human beings I have met in my life. So a very nasty fellow, and I do not like him, and he's one of the most manipulative human beings I've ever met, which means he actually gets a number of people who do like him for a period of time. Most people figure him out pretty quickly. Nonetheless, I accidentally doxed him. I doxed him to a very small number of people. It wasn't public. It was 30, 40 people. That doesn't sound small, but on the internet, that's small because it didn't get out past that. And as soon as I found out, A, I apologized. B, I said how it happened. How did I get this wrong? C, how I was going to fix it in this particular instance so that it was rectified. And D, how I was going to fix it so it wouldn't happen again to anybody else. All that went out publicly. That's still all out there. An apology to him. I don't like doing it because I don't. He's actually probably not going to sit there and use that as a. But nonetheless, that's an apology. You sit there and you know, if you're sincere, I really detest the person, but you do what's right. So thank you.
That's integrity. See, that's in the Navy and the Marine Corps. The 3 core values are honor, courage, and commitment. Sometimes that falls under courage, and it falls under all 3. Having the courage to do it, to suck up your pride, you know, and yeah.
Is he saying that you need in the Marine Corps you should suck up your pride and apologize to people, and that's part of the Marine Corps' core thing that he talks about all the time? And is that what I'm getting here? You're muted.
Yeah, here's the thing. So he was all apologetic, at least, you know, oh yeah, I should apologize to Sweet. I should apologize to Chesh. I should apologize for these things. Here's what I did wrong. But then he never actually made the efforts towards rebuilding those relationships, which is fine. Nobody has to feel about me any way they don't feel about me. I would never tell anybody, hey, you owe me affection because I like you. That's not how this works. However, if you go out of your way to make me think that you feel a certain way about me that I didn't ask for, and I believe you and we build on that relationship, for you to then go around and completely undermine all of that and make it look like, because again, I'm nobody. In the scheme of Atheist Edge, who am I? So whatever I say, I'm in a position where I feel like whatever people do to me in this community at this point, it doesn't matter because I'm not popular enough. I'm not subbed enough. I'm not in that culture enough to matter because they protect the people that can actually give them views and clout.
Sub to the channel to support Sweet.
Oof.
I don't want goddamn shit. Leave me alone.
That's okay. All the subs go to my channel.
give Chesh your money.
On the other hand, I think this is Jim admitting that he doesn't have any what was the word that he just used? Ethics. Nah, integrity. That's the word he used. This is him admitting he doesn't have any integrity. All right, moving on.
That's the better one.
The honor is integrity.
Well, that's why I appreciate, you know, so yeah, I think it's clear to me, and you had said Cheshire Vic was really smart. I have never met anyone who hasn't underestimated her. She's much smarter.
Do you feel that I underestimated her in our first encounter?
I don't know. I haven't, but just in terms of people who tell me she's smart. Usually,
yeah.
I
knew she was smart from the get-go. That was our,
yeah,
I think, that was the third time we've appeared together in a show. So I was full aware prior to that interview. It's not that I don't feel that I underestimated her. In fact, prior to her initial outburst, which I have and did and will again apologize for meeting her hostility with hostility. Well, I'll get to that in a minute. No, I don't feel I underestimated her. In fact, prior to that, her initial outburst, she made a really good point about, because I originally said I did not ask to go on her or Red's show. And she showed me where, and sure enough, I did basically ask to come on her show and defend myself if she was going to say anything critical. So
Manya said she had looking like she had something to say there. So go ahead, Manya.
Oh yeah, that same thing. Again and again, you know, meet hostility with hostility. I shouldn't have done. Shesh, I will make this loud and clear. Shesh was not hostile. She might be irritated. That is not being hostile at all. Hostile is when you start screaming at someone, pointing a finger into the camera, and telling them to fuck off.
Or you know that you're gonna hit them.
Yeah, that's being hostile. Being irritated is not hostile. Yeah, what Nikki's doing is not hostile. All right?
Oh,
women do that. Women do that. Get used to that shit. All right?
Absolutely.
And focus on the points instead of trying to dismiss the validity of the points because tone. Cheshire was not hostile. She was passionate. She was annoyed. she was passionate about the topic because her friend was stabbed in the back. What do you expect from her?
Would you guys
Alright.
like to actually
Get
look at this
over it.
now? Would we like to actually look at this now and see what my tone was before we get to Sweet's bit? Because this is gonna get... That way, when
Oh, yeah.
Sweet's bit comes up, it'll have a little bit more context, if you guys would like to see that. On the other
Yep.
hand, I would also like to point out, he just said that he, during this call, I showed this, and then we looked at it, and sure enough, I had said this. So let's see if he actually agrees with that criticism and actually walks back his claim or not. Because this right now, he's currently telling Nick that, yeah, no, she said that, and you know what? She was right, and you know what? I had to take that back. So let's see how he actually handled that, shall we? We'll take bets in the chat. One if you think he actually during the call, no spoilers. One in the call if you think, or one in the chat if you think he did walk it back and was like, you know what, you're right. Two in the chat if you think, oh hell no, he didn't take responsibility for anything or admit to anything being wrong. All right, vote chatters. Let's see where we get.
He hasn't gotten anything dismissed, nor will he. Okay, it's not going to get set aside. You can't ignore a court when they tell you to do something in hopes something is going to happen. You can't say, "Hey, look, the court has told me to do this. I'm not going to do it because reasons later on that might happen." Right? So when you asked him, why don't you just turn it over? He said, "Well, I will if there's a court order," and you didn't catch it, which I thought was kind of odd. I didn't know if you knew there was already a court order on that.
I already knew. I wasn't. Cheshire is right. The way she went about saying it, I disagree with, but she is right. It was not a well thought out. I didn't have those big questions, the 50-50 agreement and the court order. I didn't have those written down, and those are. I really failed for not asking those.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe he doesn't know that because I'd asked just the same thing. I was like, is he just not aware of that?
No, I knew. I just totally gaffed it off. But no, I will say in my defense though, there is a way to let me know that I screwed that up in a cordial way, and using words like piss poor or sucking the dick of the enemy or come on my show and take your lumps.
I didn't say that, dude.
I didn't say that either.
It was Reds who was saying that.
Yeah.
He was just conveying the message. You dense motherfucker.
I knew we'd get at least one in. I knew we'd get at least one in.
Manya, do it again.
You dense motherfucker.
Sorry, Sweet, you had something to say, yeah?
No, again, these are words. They're words. If you cannot handle harsh, graphic, descriptive words and metaphors being levied at you on the internet, reevaluate the kind of shit you throw on the internet, because it's going to come back at you. I've had to deal with that, and I have dealt with it, even though I get triggered the same way. I don't like that kind of confrontation, but I've learned to adapt to it and express myself. And if I really feel like I can't handle a certain situation, I'm going to be honest about it. But you know what I'm going to do? Accept responsibility for that. Whoa. And say,
without conditions.
I'm pussying out of this right now because I can't handle it. And that's on me because I have PTSD and that's my issue. But I accept the fact that I am bowing out of this confrontation and that's on me. And I hope you can understand it, and maybe in the future we can have a conversation about it.
Are you suggesting that you don't try and then misrepresent the situation on Twitter and
and then I don't go on to misrepresent the situation in public on the I claim to empathize with and try to come to some sort of agreement with?
All right, Jesus. So Nikki, did you have anything you wanted to add before we? I'm about to swing into this call. So Nikki, would you like to go?
I don't know. It almost just seems like he's making an excuse, almost an unprofessional excuse. Like, oh, I didn't know to do that, but it's like, okay, well, that means that you're unprofessional. It means that you don't know what you're doing. So in making this excuse, he just makes himself look worse, and I think that is absolutely ridiculous. Like, oh, I'm sorry. It's
valid.
So bad.
And then also, if
For
you
real,
know, yeah.
You're making these excuses, and you're just making yourself look unprofessional when you own a very popular channel, a moderately popular channel. But it just
more popular than me.
Bigger than this channel is.
It's not what I'm here for. But yeah.
It reads as unprofessional at best. At best, it reads as unprofessional for real. I don't even want to say
In my workplace, that will be incompetence. Would not. I'll get 2 chances, and in the third chance, manager will me down and say, "What's going on?
And
What are
that's
you
what
doing?"
If he was working at any
With
kind
a-
of place
with an
where interviews were
Yeah.
professional, or if he was working at any kind of actual production studio, he'd have been fired after that interview with Kyle immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
But you guys, watch your tone. Watch your tone. You're gonna upset him. Okay, let's go.
So you said that.
I
said
am
that-
100% willing to show those DMs because, as many of you may remember, that my DMs are open. The thing is that Jim is misunderstanding what Red's rhetoric is saying. Red's rhetoric is saying, "You're on my channel, you play by my rules. I think you fucked up, and I'm going to tell you that." Red's regularly has people running away and leaving his channel, and he's fucking sick of it.
He does
So
have
the
that.
answer is,
He does. He really does.
is that he's trying.
Valid.
He's at a point where he's not interested in having a conversation with you if you're not even going to bother to hear out his criticisms. Like he said, his criticisms were going to be harsh, not unreasonable, not unfair, not unproductive, not mean, harsh.
When have you ever known me to back away from a conversation?
This is my
When-
first
when
interaction
it's-
with you, and it was twice
No,
already.
it's not. We've been on
A few
several shows
minutes
together.
ago.
No, I mean in a sense where we're actually in disagreement.
Reds also said, if you want the privilege of coming.
Bro, rum and coke nights don't count.
Since when does rum and coke night count for anything other than us just being us?
Shooting the
Like,
shit.
Assholes.
Yeah.
Just dumb.
Like, so I
assholes.
should be.
I get in
like,
arguments with people on rum and coke. They're not really arguments. Like, I have no beef with them. We have heated discussions, but that's a great thing.
To be fair,
I talk over people.
I look
I'm like
pissed.
talking over people and screaming like a.
Oh, I know.
witch.
Chash got more pissed than I did, but maybe because I was more intoxicated. I don't know.
Oh no,
but
not
it's
then.
not the
That
point.
no, I had to leave that the rum and coke night conversation. I had to leave that conversation before I got mad. But like, look at me right here. I look mad. I look so
Yeah,
mad.
looking mad, looking
Maybe-
mad, and looking mad, and being annoyed is not. This is.
No, and it's difficult. The thing is that not everybody can completely turn off every single sense of their emotion in a conversation. And if a little of that leaks through, I mean, the way that Chesh was on this stream, and again, like I said to her, I had to apologize to Chesh too, because at first I thought there was more hostility there than there was. When I listened to it the second time, I'm like, wow, considering the way that I know how you are when you are hostile, that personal connection.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Absolutely.
as somebody with my PTSD, the things that I consider hostile are a little bit higher on the tier of what's threatening than this 4 black belt Marine shrapnel taking person that apparently can't take a little bit of a tone from a tiny woman from Canada because he has PTSD from the military.
Okay.
I don't
have-
understand the
absolutely.
correlation. And as much as I empathize, and I did, you can see in my comments, I was completely empathetic. I have PTSD. I deal with the same thing. There are certain confrontations I can't handle in the best way that a lot of
Okay.
people do. But they're
All
more
right,
they're more
I'm-
face to face. But the anxiety is there in general. And that's why I was so quiet for so long on the internet, was because I do have anxiety and I have social issues with that. And if I am just there being me, it becomes really difficult when people are openly attacking me for just being myself. That used to be a big issue. I've gotten better at that over the years. And here I am now, and I'm actually talking and asserting myself. And God forbid I do that, because
Yay.
now when I speak the
But,
truth
yeah.
Oh
about
man,
how
you were
I
such
feel,
a you were
my
such
own
a good
feelings.
girl. You were such a good, nice girl, and then you started,
I get
being so hostile. Mr. Sirius also makes a good point in the chat because he was actually in the video before coming in when they were talking
I love
about
Mr.
this.
Sirius.
At the time, we had just spent over an hour giving Jim the best benefit of the doubt we could, and yeah, that stream is 2 hours and 30 minutes. So.
I'm just reading the definition of hostile from an internet dictionary, okay? So it means showing or feeling opposition or dislike, unfriendly, all right?
No, I guess he's right
Opposed.
then. I was definitely unfriendly.
No, but
100%.
what's wrong with that? I don't get it. What's wrong with it? What's wrong with it? What's wrong her being feeling or showing opposition? That's what she's doing there. You're presenting out a narrative and she's opposing that. What's wrong with it? Focus on the message and then get your point across. For me, when you start talking about tones and hostility and this shit, it's all about that you are either you don't want the message to get out or you don't have strong enough conviction of your, about your own points.
Well,
That's the
let's
only
see.
thing.
Yes.
And that's what was exposed in
Yeah,
this
honestly.
conversation with Steve, is that
Yeah.
he was fine with Chesh's tone, because her tone didn't change. It
He was
pretty
only
level
worried
the
when
whole time. He was only
Yeah, that's
worried
true,
when she was actually presenting evidence that went against what he said. Because if you watch that, if you go back and watch, and I did for that reason, because I'm like, I'm not going to come into this and defend. I love you, Chesh. I'm not going to come into this and defend Chesh based on a loose memory that I have from a while ago. So
Please
gonna,
don't
like,
do
you know...
that. That would be more problematic than it would be helpful. Please, in fact, don't do that thing.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Thanks.
So I rewatched it, and all I saw was Chesh, one, being more amicable than she normally is or allows people to let her be. So one, this woman is already allowing herself to tone down the way she wants to express herself for you, to get her point across, to try to have a conversation. She's already dialing herself back. And it was very apparent. And maybe people who weren't too used to Chesh or too used to certain things and didn't understand why she was upset as she was, looked at that and said, oh, she's being aggressive. But they didn't understand why.
Okay.
Mostly trolls.
I'll have to do a little pushback here, Sweets. It's like now we are trying to justify her tone. We don't need to justify that. There was no tone. It was fine.
That's what I'm saying. It's what how you define tone. So I have a tone right now. Even if I'm talking completely level and kind and sweet and like everything's fine.
Yeah.
And we're just having a completely calm and nice conversation. I'm having a tone right now. This is my tone.
Okay.
Now, whether I'm talking like this or whether I am calling you out in your goddamn shit, it doesn't matter. The points I'm making are the same. And if you have any sense of responsibility for what you're doing on the internet, own that responsibility for what you're doing on the internet with people who have public lives on here just the same as you do.
Do we really need me to go?
Or fuck off.
Do we need
or
me
if
to
you
go?
say you're gonna fuck off, fuck off and stop talking about me, because I was done. We're so done.
Do you guys need me to go and play this video? Because at the beginning of his apology to Kyle, his interview with Kyle, he talks about how you should be responsible on the internet with what you're doing, but you know, whatever.
Yeah, it's like, and okay, Steve was okay with Shesh, whatever Shesh was saying, how she was saying it. It was until when Jim started overreacting. He started being, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. That's when Steve was like, okay, Shesh, you have to go. Because
hey, come on,
promised...
you're spoiling it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's tough.
Sorry.
The problem, I have to apologize to the audience. We've been over this ad nauseum with different people from different angles for so long. This has been a month or more, or almost a month since
yes.
it happened.
Yeah.
And we've been trying to just like push it off and let it go and deal with it privately. And we can't. Like, people keep bringing it up publicly. So again, here we are. So I'm sorry. We're frustrated and we're done. You want to hear what we think? Here's what we think.
All right, here we go.
I mean, I will say, and I'm going to try to say this as nice as I can, it was condescending and it was a bit arrogant, and I don't mean that in a pejorative way. He said, if you want the privilege of coming on my show, you'll abide by my stipulations. First off, he invited me to the show. I didn't ask to come on to his show or Cheshire's show.
Not the case, I will 100%.
Actually, he also threw out another lie here, and I'm going to call this a lie, because I actually walked this back, but I'm going to go ahead and say I stand by that now. I didn't reach out to Jim at all. The first time he messaged me was before this, and I showed the DMs on the second video, and I've got them pulled up here now because of course I do, because why wouldn't I? He's saying that he didn't ask to be on mine or Red's show. The first message he has ever sent to me reads, I understand you'll be doing a response video on my interview with Kyle. I request to come on your show to defend myself following that. My personal cell number is number. Text is best. Thanks, Jim.
Hey, Jimmy, you liar, bitch. Sorry.
Do you want me to show here? Let me.
Sorry, my tone. I'm cursing. I'm not a lady.
Hold up. I'm gonna show you guys real quick.
You're a liar, Jim. You lie, Jim. Lied. I don't know whether it was intentional, or you just have brain farts all the time?
It was the first one he sent, though. It's the first thing he ever sent to me.
Does he remember what he types or what he like regurgitates out of his mouth?
It was
seems to conveniently remember only what matters.
Goldfish memory.
Yeah.
Dumbass. It was the first message. The only reason we were talking was because you wanted to come on my show to defend yourself. What the fuck are you saying?
Dude, dense motherfucker. I understand you will be doing a response video on my interview file. I request you to come on your show. I request you, Jimmy, request to come on your show to defend myself following that. My personal cell is, and he just casually throws out his cell phone number in there when Shesh has told everyone her DMs are public. And you just casually throw your cell phone number in there. Text is best. Thanks, Jim Hall. Bitch, you invited yourself onto a show. And Shesh is... Bitch, you lying. Why the fuck you lying?
Yeah, not only that, Shesh is lying. I'm... Not only is Shesh lying... Sorry, I shouldn't have interrupted. That's so good. I love you.
Sorry, I couldn't help it.
Beautiful golden unicorn you.
Okay, I will specify.
It's not only is Shesh lying, I'm lying, Steve is lying, everybody's lying but Jim, basically. In this
these screenshots, by the way, I totally faked these screenshots. They're not real. I totally couldn't just pull them up on Twitter right the fuck now, because I could do that if you guys would like. I'm not going to, but here's the thing. My DMs are public and have always been public, but not that I actively show them all of the time. It's I maintain every right to make these public in the future should I so see fit. However, so if you put personal information like that in there, use a dumbass. Don't send me your personal information. On the other hand, we're gonna get to this. Jim asked to make them public. So we'll get there. We'll get there. We'll get there.
Here's my number in the DMs. Make the DMs.
Fucking idiot.
Sweets, you alright?
Screen share it. You're lying.
Well, hang on.
Is that right?
No. Yes, and I will show the screen share.
Yeah, it was right, and I just showed it. So sorry, I didn't catch that bit, but I did catch the other bit. So yeah, moving on.
The very first, if you want to show the DMs, I will show them.
Well, hang on. I don't want accusations of lying. He might be mistaken, but Jim's not a liar, so I just.
I'm sensing.
Okay, well then I'm saying that he's.
Just be honest.
I'm getting a little uncomfortable.
Stop. Sorry.
He did say you weren't gonna be hostile, and now the gate you called him a liar. So let's.
Real quick, I want to make a very clear distinction. Being accusatory and feeling that you think somebody is being dishonest is not the same thing as being hostile.
No.
I can say that you're lying, which is pretty much saying I believe you're lying, without saying that I want to have retribution against you, I'm trying to harm you, I'm attacking you.
I'm your enemy.
I understand there's a very blurred line there, and sure, it could have been presented in a different way. However, to call that hostile from, again, a 4 black belt Marine who has taken a share of crap, which I completely respect, but on that merit, to call little 410 Chesh who's saying, hey, you lied? Oh my god! My world is turned up.
And come on, give me that half an inch.
And I'm sorry, again, with my PTSD, yeah, I understand. There are certain confrontations hard, and any kind of uncomfortable situation can be bad.
Look at him. Does he look at him physically? Does he look like he's bothered by this at all? Look at him.
My point is that even if you find yourself in that kind of a situation so easily, why are you doing these things? This is what I'm saying. Why would you put yourself in a situation where, no offense, Shesh, a short little woman from Canada with a little bit of an attitude, barely, has you so triggered where you think that you're back in the trenches? Like that's I'm sorry, like if that's what's happening, that's horrible. And it hurts me.
Get help.
And I hope, get help.
Yeah.
Please stop drinking, stop smoking, stop doing these things that you're doing, and go get help. Do the thing that you said you were going to do and back off the internet. That made sense. When you said you were doing that, I was like, oh, good. He's going to go help himself. He's going to go correct the things that he did wrong. He's going to take responsibility for his own mental health and well-being. That's what people want to see. But when you say you're going to do that and instead keep going on publicly, dragging out these issues that nobody else wanted to drag out or address or have any other issues with beyond what it was in the beginning, now you're being the bad guy. Now you're harassing women that asked you to leave them alone. One that blocked you and one that relayed through your mutual friend that she wanted nothing to do with you until you did X, Y, and Z to prove that she had some sort of a reason to rebuild her trust in you. If you don't want to do that, that's fine. You don't owe me anything, fine. I don't care. But don't throw it back on me when I say I don't want anything to do with Jim Hall because he would not meet my standards of making me feel safe and comfortable. We can talk about that in a different way if you show that you actually care. I'm sorry, DMs after the fact, days and days after the fact, after people have pretty much yelled at you and told you to do it, they don't mean stuff. It means nothing because you're only doing it because of peer pressure. I need to see actual action. That was made very clear, and I'm entitled to my own personal feelings of who I do and don't want to associate with. Anyone, please, anybody tell me if I have DM'd them or talked to them behind closed doors to bad talk Jim Hall that didn't reach out to me first anyway looking for information. I have not done that at all.
Asking for information and clarifying and get that information also isn't talking bad about somebody. That's just a facts of the matter.
Sure. Because I can only you're asking me to prove how I feel about reacting to something that I reacted to. I have a right to that feeling. That's me. And that's something I told you how I would feel and how things do feel. This is not new information about me. And you seem to love me so much. And hey, look at Sweet, she's my best friend. Look at this person. I'm so glad I had her down in Texas. We had a great time. Yet
but if she looked at you the wrong way, you're gonna hit her.
Says.
Yeah. All right. Here we go. Let's keep going.
Fuck.
Come on, dial it back a little bit.
Okay, then I will dial it back and will say that is incorrect, and I will share the DMs if that is necessary.
So what's the accusation then? What's the issue?
Jim's claim is that Reds asked him to come on his channel. That is not what had happened. That is at best a misrepresentation.
Yeah, okay. And I didn't see it. I've not seen this discussion. Okay, so I don't know what transpired.
Do I have your permission, Chesh, to say some things in this private chat? Do I have your permission, Cheshire, to say to give some information from this private chat?
I mean, you're welcome to. Okay. I will. My DMs have always been known to be public if I so ever deemed that legit. So if you would like to do the same, of course will.
You're absolutely right. I concede.
There we go.
I did say that I'm willing to come on your show after the Kyle show. That's when I found out that you were planning a response. So I did say I request to come on your show. I never said anything about Reds though. And so when he said,
if you want the privilege, keep scrolling down. No, before you keep going, please scroll down a little bit in that position because I asked you specifically if you would like me to pass this information on to Reds, and you said yes.
So, is it just me, or did I actually dial it back there? Because it sounded like I dialed it back there.
Yeah, you did.
Because I'm willing to take the criticism if I didn't.
Yeah.
No. So, again, originally I had thought that maybe you went in a little strong. However, since watching that again a second time, considering everything, and again, I had come into this, so again, to put a little context into this too, from my position, I was offline for a few days. He had posted the interview with Kyle on a Wednesday at midnight when nobody was around watching it. So obviously, most of us did not catch that live because we are on similar time zones in the US. So I did not catch it live, and I missed it right after, but the fallout happened pretty quickly. My response was to the interview, to Chesh's part one of covering the interview and Steve's conversation with Jim after Chesh's part one. That was what I was going on. And I had felt uncomfortable about the way that he addressed Chesh in that situation before I learned of the direct threat of if she was in front of him that she would have to keep an arm's length. And that was what had pushed me over into the personal, hey, you do what you have to do. Be his friend, don't be his friend, do what you want to do, and with your professional whatever, just please don't put me in a position where I have to be around this person again. That was all it was.
So yeah, okay, so let's keep going. Yeah, I don't think this was hostile.
It's not hostile.
You could say.
It's so.
Sorry. Yeah.
Sorry. No, the thing is that it's equal. If you had been hostile, I would have had the reaction I had towards you. It's not just a male-female thing. It's a confrontation thing. It's a certain way that people are talked to, and it's a certain way that they're framing their intentions and how it comes across. And I've heard Chesh and I have had conversations where she's been more abrupt and confrontational with me in those conversations.
Absolutely.
I'm consistent, if nothing else.
She's consistent. She's very consistent.
I yell at Steve all the time.
Chesh, how many times with all of my issues, how many times did I completely dismiss your argument because I felt like you were being a little too much?
Literally never even once.
If anything, you know what I did? I sat there and I took my lumps, and then we talked about it.
Oh.
And we had a conversation, and we reached a mutual ground because I wasn't so chicken to run away from a little bit of assertive emotion in a conversation that was not even attacking me, because I knew she wasn't attacking me. And she wasn't attacking you, Jim. She was just talking about the way she felt about a situation. And you had every opportunity to fix that. Or at least just hear her out. Let her say what she wants to say. And then after, let the audience decide if she was overly...
Well, you seem to be fine with letting Kyle decide after letting him talk, but so why not with me?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, let's
I wonder why.
Nikki, yeah?
But that's the thing, though, is, to me, again, her tone was not hostile. It was pointed. It was, at the best, aggressive. Like,
sharp.
And even then, it's sharp, yeah. But
Stern,
that's the thing, though, is
stern! That's the word! I need to send Steve a message. I was trying to think of that word earlier.
Apparently,
Steve, if you're in the chat, the word is stern.
Apparently, I'm hostile every time I discipline my daughter or talk to her about a situation. Yeah. I'm hostile towards my daughter. Because I'm pretty much the same as Chesh was.
I mean, it felt like I was talking to a child. Does that count?
Yes, fair.
But that's the thing,
Sorry,
though,
Nikki.
No, you're fine. Is if you really think that this is the tone that is hostile, when she's really just trying to get a very pointed point, I guess, across.
Pointed point.
A pointed point, yes. Then,
I love that.
Then you really have no place on the internet, because people have disagreements all the time on the internet. Come on, there's trolls everywhere.
My Fifi's got hurt.
There's people who actually want to like hurt you out there. There's people who want to destroy your entire life. But to me, this was not pointed. This was her coming in. She was very aggressive, very to the point. I have seen countless people come in this exact same way, but they're not taken as hostile. They're taken as very opinionated, very ready to say their point. And honestly, I just... to be upset at this level of conviction almost is almost a childish response. Just the way that he responded is very childish.
Yeah, we can get into that. I would also like to point out that, again, like I did dial it back a little bit.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, you tried.
It's
I thought you were very
like, you know, yeah, when you're a child and your parents call you out on a lie, you immediately feel almost like offended,
defensive.
But that's the lie that you're holding on to. Yeah, to me, that's about the equal response that a person who is lying would do. And I'm not saying that Jim Hall was lying per se.
I am,
but. To be exactly. But like when somebody comes to you and they're challenging your lie, as I used to be when I was a teenager, I used to be an impulsive liar. And sometimes when people come at you and challenge your lies, you become aggressive. And
we'll see what happens.
That's the type of thing. Like with impulsive liars. With impulsive liars, you kind of get the same exact thing.
Yeah.
I'm not, again.
Yeah. It's a cycle.
I will have to reiterate that I'm not calling him an impulsive liar. But when you challenge an impulsive liar on their lies, it becomes a big, giant thing, and they become very, very aggressive.
Yeah.
This is the experience that I've had with every single impulsive liar that I've had experiences with, and as an impulsive liar myself when I was in my youth. That is exactly how I used to behave.
One in the chat if you think Nikki is predicting what's going to happen in the future. 2 in the chat if you're like, nah, Jim's a cool guy. Let's see what happens. All right, ready? Here we go.
Do you consider that me sending a request to him to come on his show?
You asked me to pass that information.
No, you asked me.
To come.
You asked me if I would like you to pass on the information to Reds, and I said sure, go ahead. Do you consider that me formally requesting to come on a show?
I consider when you request to come on the shows because me and Reds we're potentially planning on having a discussion or making a response. That was what you said. If you and or Reds do decide to put out a response video, I'm guessing they might be critical of how I went light on him. I said, oh, okay, I got you. Do you want me to send this information on to Reds as well? You said yes, and we started setting up a time for you to come on. Yep. And I said that Reds was already planning on offering for you to come on, but had up until that point not made that offer.
That sounded like you offering to get in contact with Reds to set up a show. That doesn't look like a formal request on my part to be.
Is it just me, or did he just not listen to a single fucking word I said?
Nope. He did not listen to anything.
It's an argument of semantics, and it's annoying.
All right, keep going.
Become a part of a show.
Do you think
but we can disagree.
Yeah, it could be just a misunderstanding. Then.
So, okay, that was the point I wanted to get to. So we can disagree. He does not agree. So what did he just say to Nick? Because we got beside the point. He just said to Nick, let's play it.
Seen her hostility with hostility, well, I'll get to that in a minute. No, I don't feel I underestimated her. In fact, prior to that, her initial outburst, she made a really good point about, because I originally said I did not ask to go on her or Red's show, and she
that was after the initial outburst, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he's got that backwards at best.
Yeah.
And sure enough, I did basically ask to come on her show and defend myself if she was going to say anything critical. So I admitted that fault prior to her getting hostile, and it would have continued a series of probably me making some concessions, and maybe perhaps her too, and that's how a good dialogue works.
Okay, so he's saying that what he's saying here is that I was not hostile up until this point. He's saying that I was not hostile up until after this, and that he conceded this point, which he did not do. So, going forward, up until this point, I am not hostile, so let's keep an eye out and see if my tone actually changes at any point during this to see if I actually do become any hostile
outburst.
Yet.
He was talking about an outburst. Oh my goodness.
But it was me. I had an outburst.
He's almost arguing from a point of semantics, and that annoys me.
That's fair.
Did I say that already?
Yeah. All right, here we go.
You did.
It's valid. It's valid.
Yeah,
so when he said, if you want the privilege of coming on my show, oh, come on, dude.
Well,
we all put our pants on one leg at a time.
I don't. I'm weird like that. All right, so
that's actually not what he said. I used the word privilege. Red said, quote, no, if you want to go onto my channel and want my attention, then you take your lumps or fuck off. What I said was, you do realize...
Hostile. I disengaged from that shit, and I'm about to do it again.
Tell you what.
Stop.
Oh, I preemptively stopped there for you. Go ahead, sweet.
Oh, I know. You know.
It's because I knew.
Chesh, what again, agree to disagree, fine. I did not find Chesh hostile in her reading the very text that was in front of her from a conversation. She said what Red said. And because she read the verbatim what Red said, and Jim didn't like it, his response is, oh, I disengaged from hostility. That's hostile. I'm going to do it again. I'm out of here.
Because he said fuck off. Yeah.
Because Chesh read, but because Chesh read something somebody else said.
Yeah.
Because Chesh read what a male said. Because if it was Red's voice, we all would be used to that. But since Chesh is saying it, we have a big
problem.
So Chesh is hostile because she actually read verbatim what somebody else said in a conversation. And you're going to disengage from this conversation because she said somebody else's words to help you understand the conversation you clearly don't remember very well.
Can I also point out that I'm reading out that something that he had brought up and was misrepresenting. Yeah. So he brought this up in the first place. So he's getting mad that I'm reading from the thing that he brought up and saying that it's hostile. Is that just me? Am I? Okay, whatever. Let's keep going.
Tell you what, I will screen share. I will screen share right now. And I will show you guys the entire
that's absolutely what was said, and it was arrogant.
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying that it wasn't.
And I'm saying that your tone is hostile, and I'm about to pop smoke. How's that?
How am I hostile for quoting exactly what Reds was said to you? That's what you asked me to do.
It's your tone. It's the reason I didn't come on your fucking show just now.
Pop a what?
Right,
Pop a smoke.
Pop a smoke. What?
Yeah, pop a smoke.
He's saying he's about to pop smoke. Like, Google, I blew my stack.
Oh, yeah.
See, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I know that saying. I was just very confused
All right,
so because
I
because
asked
Trust is being
him.
direct. Go
I
ahead.
asked him how was me reading what Red said hostile, and that was clearly like that had inflection on it. I wasn't yelling. I didn't
No.
I've toned it back already, and at this point, according to what he's saying to Nick, I wasn't hostile until I exploded, but I haven't seen me explode yet, and he's kind of starting to lose it. Is that, am I getting this right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna put this back just a touch so we can just hear the whole thing.
Tell you what, I will screen share. I will screen share right now, and I will show you guys the
that's
entire
absolutely what was said. And
So he got really mad when I said I was gonna screen share.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it
started
wasn't.
talking
I'm not
really
saying that
fast.
it wasn't.
I'm saying that your tone is hostile, and I'm about to pop smoke. How's that?
How am I hostile for quoting exactly what Reds was said to you? That's
It's your
what you
tone,
asked me to
Chester.
do.
It's your tone. It's the reason I didn't come on your fucking show just now.
All right, well, let's
See,
talk.
okay.
I know. Bring it back. Breathe. Okay, so we go. So,
I am offering
Chester,
to show the
Chester,
entire
okay. It's not that big a deal whether he wanted to come on.
Did you
or
look what he
said
did
would go
just
on, or
now?
Red's
Did
offered
you
him.
see that? That face?
Yeah, it's kind of a goddamn it, Steve moment, but we've fixed that.
Oh,
I know
who,
what
me?
he was trying to do.
No. Focus on Jim. Focus on Jim, how he's reacting. How he goes from this expression and then he comes forwards and he grimaces, like as if he's about to lose his shit. Like I think so. I know who's going up.
No, if you want to go onto my channel and want my attention, then you take your lumps or fuck off. What I said was, you
Man,
do
that's hostile.
realize.
I disengaged from that shit, and I'm about to do it again.
Tell you what. I will screen share. I will screen share right now, and I will show you guys the
that's
entire
absolutely what was said, and it was arrogant.
I'm
and
not saying it
pathetic.
wasn't. I'm not saying that it wasn't.
I'm saying that your tone is hostile, and I'm about to pop smoke. How's that?
How am I hostile for quoting exactly what Reds was said to you? That's what you asked me to do.
It's your tone. It's the reason I didn't come on your fucking show just now.
All right, well, let's
See,
talk.
okay.
I know. Bring it back. Breathe. Okay, so we go.
I am offering to show the entire context.
It's not that big a deal whether he wanted to come on.
Oh yeah, he is super looking mad. All right, go ahead, sweet.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just want to clarify something. Steve made a good point in the chat. So, I think we're not quite familiar with his use of the terminology "pop smoke." He meant that he would leave under the guise of smoke. He was just going to disappear. That's what he meant.
Oh, he was gonna be a fucking ninja.
He was just gonna leave, and
he's gonna be a ninja.
Yeah. So apologies, I misinterpreted that as what I'm used to that certain terms meaning. So again, this is why we have this conversation.
He's actually starting to blow his stack anyways at this point.
Well, he clearly is. Yeah, obviously.
He's talking faster and he's going hostile. So yeah.
He's also
I
physically looking more aggressive. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so let's keep going. I'm gonna kill Steve for this later because I forgot about this. Steve, why aren't you? I'm kidding. I'm not gonna kill Steve. Steve, I got a question for you though. Why aren't you asking him how I'm being hostile? That's just, that is a question that I have. I want to know, because I honestly don't think I'm hostile. None of the people here think I was hostile. Watching it again, we don't think I was hostile in any way. People in the chat, 1 in the chat if you think I was hostile, 2 in the chat if you think I wasn't hostile, please let me know. And if you do think I was hostile, if you could explain in the comments after the fact, that'd be great. Also, Failed at Engineering gave us $2. Chesh was not hostile, get over it. I forgot to read that one.
Again?
But, did I, yeah. And so I would like to know if nobody else thought I was hostile here, why did we not address my question and how I was being hostile? Especially when somebody was waving their arms around and grimacing and shit. So yeah, 1 if you thought, yeah, Manya, 1 if you thought I was hostile, 2 if you thought I was not.
Shit. Sorry.
And so 1 if
friendly fire.
Yeah, 1 if you thought I was hostile, 2 if you thought I wasn't hostile, and please, if it's number 1, please explain to me why you thought so.
Or he said he would go on, or Reds offered him. It really makes no difference. It's kind of
No, what does make a difference though, Steve? Let me specify. What does make a difference though, Steve, is that here's what was said, and I will quote it, and then if you want me to share it, I will share it. Reds went ahead and watched the interview. He thinks that you did a piss poor job, and that if you talk to him, there is going to be harsh criticism. So make sure that you are up for it before accepting the invite. I'm still working on mine, as I would invite you to my channel separately. I'm still debating on some things. The response that I got was quote, piss poor, ? Is that the best choice of words for friends to use with each other, ? I am capable of being hostile if you would like to see that side of me instead. And then I said, so I'm to assume this challenge accepted, question mark. The only person who begun being hostile from the get-go with this because he did not like the terminology and or is tone policing was Jim threatening to be hostile when he came on to harsh criticism.
All right, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry, Manya, did you have something you want to say?
Oh no, I was just going like that phrase he used in the DMs, that if you want to see that side of my thing, then...
Yeah, it's a threat of being hostile, which at no point nobody was at all.
And I'd just like to point out, for the sake of clarity, from my own position, again, of personal feeling, that was one of the things that he said that first kind of triggered me, was that like, hey, you know, I heard that he said that, like, oh, I can be hostile if you want me to be hostile. All right, that's not necessarily somebody I want to engage with. So I started building up a little bit of I'm not feeling so great about this at this point. And again, I caught up on a lot of this at the same time. So this was, again, before I found out about the actual direct threat.
Oh boy. Also another thing, that can you see that the person who in all of this used the word hostile was Jim, and after that he's the one who has been using that word again and again continuously. And I think so and he used it for himself in the chat, because this live stream is apparently after that, if I'm not wrong. So he used that word for himself, and then he is projecting it onto others who are opposing him, around him. Projection, huh? Quite interesting. Just saying.
All right, here we go. We're almost at the end of this.
Let's go.
So tone policing, piss poor. Friendship ends when you suck the dick of the enemy. Come on my show and take your lumps. Kick her off right now, or I'm off. Kick her off right now, or I'm off. I'm not gonna stand for this fucking hostility.
Well, hang on.
I'm not gonna be.
Okay, Jess, I did promise Jim that he felt hostile. Jess, I'll finish it. But I did promise him that.
Okay,
Jim,
that's fine. I will leave amicably. I will leave at Jim's request, though I do request about 2 minutes to, say the questions that I was told to bring before we even got into this. And I will also request to point out really quickly that Jim's message about talking about being hostile was before any of that had been said. So just
okay, so we're not gonna bother getting into go ahead.
That's important to note, though.
Yes,
that's really
I'm gonna pull up the
screenshots
screenshots for this. You're right.
The thing is, he's going on like, kick her the fuck off. Did he use the word fuck there?
Yeah.
And who's being hostile? Who's being hostile now?
Well, and later, to be fair, he later said, I met her hostility with hostility, and I shouldn't have done that. But he will not admit that she was not hostile. Yeah, not even to the degree that he was. That he met her hostility with more hostility than was equal to what she was showing him.
So,
and he did that before, and as she's gonna show, he started the hostile talk before anybody else did.
Yeah.
All right.
And
so
should we take into account his tone, the way he was talking so fast and overstretched and not letting a Should we start nitpicking on that?
Shut up, women.
Seriously?
So,
shut up, women. Men
talking over Chesh when she was trying to call him out, by the way. She was literally in the middle of calling him out.
So, okay, so this is how the conversation started. So, bullshit, we went over that. Here's the link. I was asking him what he thought he needed to do a conversation about. So he first off started by saying he wanted to come on our show, or come on my show, and then he said, if you and or Reds decide to put out a response, I'm guessing they might be critical of how light I went on him. I said, oh, okay, I'm down to do an interview if you want. It's whatever. I think Reds said this, blah, blah, blah. Absolutely, I'll come in. I'm having an interview, blah, 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 blah. Okay, we'll work something out if and when any of us choose to decide. I didn't say anything about Reds. He brought up Reds.
Yeah.
He brought up Reds, and then I said, oh, well, he was thinking about being on your channel. So I had just said, what do you want to defend yourself for? Why do you feel like you need to defend yourself? And why do you feel like, what do you feel needs defending? And then if you or Reds, I didn't bring up Reds.
No, and then he was the one who brought up Reds.
And so I asked him if he wanted me to pass on the message, so that way he didn't have to try and message both of us. I can just filter the messages through, because at this point in time, Reds and I were thinking about doing it together. So I was just like, okay, well, whatever. If and when we respond to it, do you want me to forward the message? Yes, please. Okay. So Reds went ahead and watched the interview, and he thinks that you did a piss poor job, and that if you are to talk to him, there will be harsh criticism, so make sure you're up for it before accepting his invite. He didn't want him to rage quit or, trigger him or anything like that. I'm still working on mine, as I would invite you onto my channel separately, and I'm still debating on some things. So I'd like to point out I was very clear. Red thinks that you did a piss poor job. I am literally saying this is what Reds thinks, and this is what I think. I made this very, very specific. Piss poor, blah, blah, we just heard me read this. I said, so am I to assume that's challenge accepted? What challenge? The invite to the channel, the invites to the channel to hear out harsh criticism. Also, Reds. Also, quote: "Friendship ends when you suck the dick of a thief." End quote. Reds. Quote from Reds. Oh,
his English comprehension skills. I'm doubting his English comprehension.
Here's the hot bit here's the bit about being hostile. Piss poor, is that the best choice of words? Here's the bit about him being hostile, then message, then also friendship ends when you suck the dick of a thief. End quote, Reds. Oh, I didn't know that invite and challenge were synonymous. It's whatever. Yes, I accept the invite. Did you notice that I didn't have any issue with him wanting to be hostile? Nobody cared? Okay, cool. Nobody. Yeah, yes, accept the, yes, so he accepted the invite, knowing this already, and saying it was fine, right? Yeah, I accept the invite. Tomorrow at this time, my entire weekend is open. What time zone are you in? Central. My stipulation is that it remain amicable. Red says, no, if you want to go on my channel and have my attention, then you take your lumps or fuck off. So this is a whole, he said this as if like Reds flew in at him or I flew in at him, when no, there was a normal conversation happening during this entire time.
I'm sorry.
And then he just didn't, and then I sent him a bunch of messages because he didn't get back to me, and I was like, okay. And that's when I mentioned privilege at the very end.
Yes, exactly. And it seems like Jim knows about as much about Red's rhetoric as he does about non-sex show.
Ooh, big
which is fuck all.
Big oof.
Fuck all, yeah. And the funny thing is, who mentioned Reds in his first comment, the very first comment, isn't it? He said, if you and Reds are going to do about this, blah, 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 then I would like to come and defend myself. So...
Well, he already knew he fucked up. He already knew he fucked up because he wanted to come on to defend himself. That's the first thing he said. He didn't even know what we were going to say yet. And he was just like, I gotta defend myself.
Because he knew he fucked up. Yep, exactly. Chef,
that's why
right.
This is why he released his video at midnight on a Wednesday.
Oh yeah, that's Thursday for me.
I'm sorry. Do you think I feel like Jim seems to be under the impression that if you don't explicitly say something, people can't infer any information from the way you do say things, what you don't say, and kind of the way things go. I think I know a few people like that, actually.
As in, like, we don't have brains for some reason. They think, like, we don't have brains. And people tell us what fuck it. Oh, she went out of focus.
There we go.
Focus. There we go.
Focus on me.
Focus.
So, that's where that went. I said my, I'm gonna skip my questions because they were questions that ended up happening later. We're gonna go back to when Jim showed up, because this is where we started getting into the more serious threat-y type stuff, and then we'll, actually, you know what? We should go back to Nick's video. Or Nick and Jim's video, and see what's going on with Sweet real quick. We'll come back to threats. We'll get there.
Yeah, hopefully everybody is following this chaos well enough. But again, if there's any questions after, just hit me up. It's fine.
Happy to oblige.
I'm gonna have to do a TLDR on this.
Yeah. God, I just want this to be done.
But of course, it went sideways after that. But
dude, that was all you.
What I don't think I owe an apology to is to a third party. I guess I'll just say the name. Steve McRae's, our mutual friend, Sweet Heathen. All right. I found out days later on another.
Yeah.
Can we just point out he's still calling me our mutual friend? Oh. He has not displayed any indication that he's my friend since Texas, and since he actually, like, when he wanted to know what I felt about him doing the interview. That was the last interaction we had that had any implication that he cared about me at all. And then everything that we talked about in that conversation, which was after other conversations we had.
Flush down the toilet.
Flush down the toilet. But I'm a mutual friend. We're in equal standing, Me and Steve and me and Jim, we're in equal standing.
Yeah, weren't you in the military with him?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. Obviously, I can't remember things, so I might have been.
A third party. I guess I'll just say the name. Steve McRae's our mutual friend, Sweet Heathen. All right. I found out days later on another YouTube channel in the comment section. It was this gigantic manifesto about how she was hurt by my hostile behavior.
False. Sorry.
I already paused it.
This is gonna happen a lot. False. You did not find out days later. I mean, maybe Chesh, you can correct me. When did I comment on your stream? How many days after the actual episode?
Let's see if I can find out.
Maybe it was a couple days.
I'm pretty sure it was a couple of days later.
Still.
But here's the thing. The reason it was a couple days later is because I was ill, and I mean severely ill. I was completely off social media for a while.
That's true.
And I was in a position of people trying to get me to get tested for the word we can't say. But we wouldn't do that in my town because they weren't doing that. I was at home recovering from a really bad virus. And I'm not getting it for pity. I'm not saying that for that. I'm just explaining why I wasn't around when this first all went down, even though I knew it was happening. I kind of had a few days off. So I caught up really fast. And I heard what I heard. And I was really messed up by what I heard. Yeah, look at that. Is that my comment?
That is your comment.
It's my book of a comment.
If anybody wants to pause and read this, I don't know if it's large enough for the outside to see.
I can read it.
No, well, no, we're not. No, we do not have time for that. Absolutely, we're already past 2 hours.
Sorry.
It's under the
TLDR,
copy. It's under this.
TLDR. Jim went out of his way to make me feel safe and that I could trust him in certain situations. Not only online, but I met him in person. He picked me up from the airport. We spent time alone in a car together. We spent time in different situations together. Fast forward to him saying that basically people who are openly hostile to him with a tone, Cheshire's tone, which I can easily match or exceed in any given emotionally charged situation. Say if Jim had been out drinking with us the night that we went out drinking.
All three of you have had more tone in this conversation tonight than I did with him.
Than you did. Yeah. And honestly, I'm dialing it back because the way that I actually feel, the hurt and the anger I feel far exceeds the tone that I have. This is me being docile as I can. So my point is that he went out of his way to make me feel safe and to make me feel okay in the situation. And not only out of being a gentleman, he listened to my past and the reasons why I and people in my family and people in my life were very concerned about me going and doing these meetups and having these interactions with people. This stuff was expressed both with me and him in private, and then me, him, and Steve, the three of us together. Okay. And again, if people don't want to believe that, that's up to them. I don't care. I'm talking about why I personally, after all of this, said to Steve, hey, I don't feel comfortable being alone with this person anymore. It was completely my own personal feeling. I'm entitled to that. And if he wants to fix that, I painted a very clear picture of what he had to do to start earning that trust back. He could do that or not do it. He originally said he should do it. Please tell me how I can fix it. I did. We went through all that. It was relayed to him. And then in this, he doubles down and says he doesn't owe me anything anymore because I didn't accept his private apology that I didn't, it was after
when you
the
do
fact.
shit like this publicly, you need to address it publicly. Mani, did you have something to add to this?
It's so this so he knew the impact his words had on Sweets, right? And then he casually goes on to another stream and just say, meh, I don't owe her an apology. What the fuck are you doing? Are you schizophrenic or something? You're a child.
I don't know, but the people around him, if he's having these issues, the people around him should be helping him to get offline and to address these issues. I want him to get better if that's the case. But instead, I have to put this
somebody needs to toss Loki. We're gonna do get help. Quick, my brother's been injured.
It's like
just stop bringing me up. Stop bringing me up in live streams. Stop going out of your way to find my friends like Nick to give you credibility for gaslighting me into thinking that I was irrational or wrong for feeling the way I felt. Just stop. That's all I want. Just stop. Leave me alone. Let me go exist with my friends and do what I want to do. You played us. You won. Good job. We're moving on. Let us move on. I don't want anything to do with this anymore. I really don't. This is all bullshit. I just want to do the fun things and have the conversations and call stuff like this out, hopefully in the future, not where I'm directly involved in it. It's not fun for me. I'm sorry, but like it's not fun for me to do this.
All right, let's see if we can get through what he's about to say about her. Good luck.
Said nothing about the initial Cheshire hostile behavior, and she likened it, and then Steve said it. Just for the record, Steve and I are still very tight friends to this day, but he did make one criticism that saying
he's saying to this day, now this is pre-recorded, however, this was released on April 12th, so to 13th, so we have to take it as if that still stands because he released it without any editing or any comment about it. So, moving on.
Exactly.
play nice or you'll see what happens sounds awfully like an awful lot like an abusive parent or an abusive husband, right? Yes, it does, but I didn't say that. I didn't even allude to that. It was never play nice or see what happens. It was not.
I'm just gonna read this real quick. Is that the best choice of words for friends to use with each other? I'm capable of being hostile if you would like to see that side of me missaid. And the blurb we just watched him freak out about over on Steve's channel was him saying, talk to me like that and I'm gonna blow up or whatever. See what happens.
Blow a smoke?
Blow a smoke.
Yeah.
All right, let's go.
A threat. It was not, I'm gonna turn, I did not intend to meet hostility with hostility. It was, play civil or I will unplug from the conversation. That's one of our commandments. That was the original.
You did not say that
from the beginning.
You did not say. Hold on. You did not type that, you motherfucker. You said you want to see the other side of me, then you will get it. That's not saying, oh, I will unplug from this conversation. You're not dense, motherfucker. You're a abusive manipulator. You bullshit and you like misrepresent everybody's situation, everybody's words, and you twist your own words so you can look better. Fuck you, Jim. Seriously. You hurt my friend. Fuck you. Fuck you. Seriously, I'm so angry. This is the blatant twisting. This is a lie. This is a lie. He said, I will unplug. Saying that you will see another side of me, is not saying that I will unplug. You would then say, listen, if you're not going to be cordial with me, I will walk away. That's what he should have then typed in there. He didn't type that. Motherfucker. Seriously. I'm sorry.
We can also go forward you're fine. Yeah, I'm just going to go forward a little bit on this one too, over here, because this is where we get to whether or not he's actually... What did he say? Let's find out.
The context. So my questions are, and I'll just...
You centered? Okay, so it's just you and I now. There are some legit questions. I'm very simple. By the way, I already know the answer to this one. I don't know where this came from, so maybe you can answer where it came from. The question is, are you a lawyer? I don't know where that came from. I know you're not a lawyer.
I never said that. Someone must have heard that wrong. I didn't say that.
Yeah, but I don't think you have any legal training, right?
No, zero.
Yeah. I mean, I took a semester or two in college. That's it, and it was on tort law. But that was it. It was tort law and regulatory business environment law. So I did have a little bit of understanding of some of the procedures for legal stuff, but I got an A. Let's see here. The second question is, how much research have you done?
Steve over here with the humble brag.
The stuff that Kyle had done. Have you listened to any of his Discord stuff?
I believe that I was wholly unprepared for, especially those two questions that absolutely should have been asked.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see here.
But I will say in my defense that this was an exploratory. I was fully expecting to just make this a toe in the door to establish a line of communication and trust between us and for follow-on interviews.
Yeah, and I kind of do understand that.
He sucked his dick so he could get him on his channel. Moving on.
Some ways, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the next time you have a discussion with him, you can ask him more the harder hitting stuff. I respect that. So in this question here, I'm going to ask. I do.
Steve,
really
I hope you don't actually respect that.
I mean, Bull was actually unceremoniously removed as well, which had nothing per se to do with me. Did you happen to know
Not
that Kyle
with
had asked Bull to life for him?
Kyle asked Boole to live. Oh, he absolutely did early
Yes.
on, didn't he?
Yes, that's been well established. He admitted this. So
Let me
again,
write
these are
that one
facts and
down.
evidence. I want to go only by facts and evidence. No commentary, no extraneous, what ifs. These are facts that have already been well established.
Yeah,
Which is
I already know,
fair.
but I totally I forgot that one.
Yeah, so when,
Because he was scrambling to get Boole on his side early on.
He forgot
can
that
you
he
It was a
do?
private
didn't
chat,
write
but I
the
think Boole
fuck
revealed
down.
it. And
Yes.
I hope David McGinnis. I'm not going to reveal what David and I have been talking about today, but I've been getting a lot of good information that I didn't know before from the other Dave.
yeah,
today.
Dave was
So,
intimately involved in a lot of the stuff.
yeah, he really helped me through my and now. Yeah, he helped me. He talked me down last night when I was
Good,
trying to get
good.
to sleep, and now it's all back. It's all back,
Yeah,
and now I
breathe.
feel like
have a
man,
beer. Have a beer.
God damn it!
I can't say the name of the beer because we're
Oh, it's so sad. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
Um,
What do you,
Listen to it. It's coming. It's coming.
wait, what do you think of the idiots who actually think that you can catch the virus from the beer? I mean, how dumb do you have to be? This is like flat Earth level, younger creation
Flat Earth
level stupid.
mentality.
Yeah, it's so dumb.
And I was going to send something that I would have really regretted. It would have sounded like a credible threat when I was in that chat with them about trying to explain why I don't resort to hostility. Because Courtney, I mean, it's our code. Courtney and Chris live by it, but they live by it because they choose to. I live by it because I have to. And I was going to put in there that I've only got one go mode, and that ends with someone drinking their dinner out of a hospital straw for 3 months. And that would sound like
Yeah,
What?
I
threat.
never want
So-
to piss you off at a bar.
God
What?
damn it.
Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
want to ever. I don't ever
Where
want to
the
piss him. Hey!
is-
Crazy thought.
Hold on.
Crazy thought.
Yeah.
I don't want to piss him off at a bar either. I was almost at a bar with the guy. I was alone with the man.
Oh God.
But I'm crazy for like saying, hey, maybe I don't want to put myself in that situation because I know myself. I can kind of express my emotions now the way I want to. And God forbid I ever do that in front of him because he was very clear of what that would end like. Again, I did not ask anybody to make this a public stink. I did not make a big deal about it.
God.
I simply expressed.
It's scary though. That's the thing is we didn't have to make it public because he said it publicly and he said it in such a way that almost seemed like a credible threat and that makes people scared. That scares people.
Yeah,
Can
it's a
can
scary
point
side.
to-
Well, I
point
mean,
to
he's a
there's
Marine. He has
timestamp?
training.
I mean,
Exactly.
do you
And there's a
want-
timestamp where he admits and he says full out that if he said to somebody this stuff, and I think maybe it was that even part, that he says, if I said this the way I wanted to say it, it could be justifiably taken as a credible
Yeah,
threat.
I know the timestamp. You want the timestamp? I have the timestamp.
I
Yeah, we-
have it written down
Yeah,
too.
Actually,
My point is,
he literally
Is
just
that-
said it. I can put it back if we need
yeah,
to.
I was gonna
It's
say, I
right-
think it
it's
was
right
that
here.
point.
So another point to note that he had an opportunity here to clarify what he was trying to say. If he was trying to say that he would walk away from it. Oh no, he actually doubled down on it and said, well, what I was trying to say, and I'm doubling it down, that I have one go mode and that will end in drinking your dinner out of a straw in a hospital. If I'm not wrong, that's what he said. So he's not clarifying it that, oh no, it was something else. Oh no, motherfucker, that's what I mean. You will see a very different side of me. Fuck you, Jim.
Actually, I'm gonna go ahead and say he didn't just double down; he tripled down. Threatening violence is threatening violence.
Shit.
And what does reproductive plumbing have to do with it? Anyway, I told Steve in private that if I ever see Chesh at a convention or conference, she better stay 1 arm's distance away from me. So
How about that for hostile, you motherfucker?
here's
But
the
I'm supposed to want to be around this person again and
Oh,
open
no,
it.
no, 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 no.
accept with
so
open
here's
arms.
the thing. There's
I'm
actually
going to
Have
bag you and
discourse.
take you away from him if I
Well,
see you anywhere.
I'm
for
an
the most
irrational,
part-
hysterical person.
For the most part, I don't take threats like this credibly. I don't give a shit.
No.
However, I was also
Shush to give no
working when you went to go and meet up with them for Atheist Edge. I was planning and working towards going with you. It didn't work out, but I was planning on going with you. On top of that, there are forums in Texas. Many forums and many people that I wanted to go meet up with. Team Skeptic and I think Reds is going, and I think there's a couple other people that are going, if I'm not mistaken, to Texas for a launch meetup. That's a public place in Texas. I'm also was planning and working on and potentially going to be going to Faithless Forum, which is in Texas. You know who I'd love to go meet in Texas? Jim Majors. Jim Majors lives in Texas. I have lots of reasons why. Egghead lives in Texas. Somebody else I'm supposed to go meet up with. This is a credible threat because I'm supposed to be going to conferences and meetups in Texas. And that's not this is before non sequitur even gets going. I already went to go travel to Florida to meet up with Boole to prep for non sequitur show stuff. I have every intention of traveling and bumping around for non sequitur show stuff. This is a direct and this doesn't even say only conventions or conferences that are in Texas. It could be any single one that he was like, I don't know, David Worley was having his conference over across the seas. What if I was go to that one and he went there? This is a legitimate threat that I now have to consider anytime I go anywhere that he may or may not be going to, unless the forums are gonna ban him from going because I might be there, which I don't think they would take that consideration for me.
Again, who the hell are we? Like,
they
we
don't
don't
give
matter.
Yeah, they
We're
don't give a
real
shit about
women.
me anyway, right?
And the hypocrisy of this the hypocrisy of the statement. If you can bring it up again on me from on the screen, Shash, I would really like to see that. So what he's saying is threatening violence is threatening violence. So he's not saying that he didn't threaten violence. He's like, threatening violence is threatening violence, and then some stupid ass comment. Anyway, so if you take that out, threatening violence is threatening violence. Anyway, I told Steve in private that if I ever see Shesh at a convention or conference, she better stay 1 arm's distance from me. So he's not saying that I didn't threaten Shesh. He's saying threatening violence is threatening violence. He's just repeating those 2 words. Mm-hmm. He's not defending himself in any way. Oh,
he's basically saying, it sounds like he's saying it doesn't matter that Chesh is a woman. It just is what it is based on her. He feels threatened by her for whatever reason he does.
Probably because he was lying and he got busted.
Yeah, being violent is justified against whichever
That's
gender.
obvious now. I mean, if people don't gather that from what we've gone through, again, we have more timestamps. We can walk people through. I mean, it's there, but I'm hopefully we've covered this at this point, that people at least understand that we at least have justified reasons to feel how we do about simply pushing him out of our sphere of existence. Nobody went after him. Nobody went after his channel. I explicitly said that I still supported his channel because of the other people involved that I had no issue with prior or currently that I know of to this. But I feel like I'm always pushed out of these places because, again, who am I with my no subs and I'm just like existing around? And the people that I do respect, the people like Chesh mentioned that we actually do want to go meet for the first time or again in some situations, now I have to sit back and worry that they're going to take a side on this. And now I'm losing more people. And yeah, you could say, well, then they never really liked you in the first place. Maybe that's true. But you can't say that, like, I can't hurt from that. And I can't be sad.
That doesn't mean it doesn't suck.
Yeah. Like, from those people.
It's a net gain at the end of the day, but that doesn't mean getting to that net gain doesn't involve you getting pulled out of, like, in a net fish out of water.
Because there were a lot of people in the community that I love and respect, and they know it, but I would never pull them actively into my drama, so to speak. But at the same time, now, if they have Jim Hall around, I can't be around their channel. I can't be around that. And it's not because any slight towards them. It's for my own mental well-being because I don't want to be around somebody that has done what he's done to me.
I don't know what you're talking about. This is only because people are mad that he had Kyle on his channel.
It's and I'm just reading the comment to which that comment we just read was a response to. So it was someone's comment. It said, hold on, where did it go? Where did you go? Oh yeah, here it is. The side of your story where you threatened violence on a woman. So he doesn't deny it. He doesn't deny that he threatened Shesh. What?
No, he doesn't even walk it back a little bit. Every time this gets brought up, he pushes it.
Triple down.
Yeah, he just pushes it further. Like, how much more can I threaten her? Can I like just start getting explicit? I mean, I basically just said I was gonna punch her in the face. Can I make it more explicit? Oh, I'm gonna put her in a headlock and snap her neck. I'm gonna slit your fucking throat. What the fuck, bro?
This guy needs help. This guy needs help. If this is a reaction to a simple, like, back and forth where someone is trying to hold him accountable for his statements, if this is the reaction he gives, this type of reaction, he does not belong on internet.
Isn't that the thing that he said he was so big up on in the beginning of his conversation with Nick? Oh, that, you know, it's I hold people accountable.
What about his own accountability? What about your accountability? About your own accountability, you fucking Jim
No,
bitch.
he accepts accountability for the things that he feels like he can get forgiveness for. He can say, "Oh,
boom!
Oh my god!
I'm sorry. Was that out of left field? It seems kind of
It wasn't
obvious."
out of left field. That was just
No, it's just a
fucking...
burn. Savage burn.
It's. Oh, I just forgot. I'm sorry. I was drunk. I'm sorry. Oh, did I forget that? Oh, did I look like I was agreeing to that? Oh, it's always like this. Oh, like
Hey,
Pikachu face.
Shocked Pikachu. Hey, on the other hand, didn't he say something? I have a question. Are threats like this considered malicious? Because didn't he earlier say that, oh, people are calling me malicious? Don't attribute attribute things to malicious when it could be just
malice, when it could be just
so if
whatever.
Hold on. The one that he made on the Facebook page where he said like to keep Shesh at an arm's length. That's malicious. That's malicious.
We got a super chat from Helios. Sorry, it took me a second to get here. The most pathetic people in the world are those who that have to resort to threats of violence to silence criticism. That's a really good point.
I'll throw a tantrum. I'll throw a tantrum.
Exactly what he was doing.
Get over it!
Can I point out, by the way, I actually had three people on with me when we were talking about the situation. So before I went on with my initial one, had Nick was on that call talking about it, that he refused to come into and saying
Nick
it was too
there.
hostile. But Nick was invited here with no problem, and he doesn't have any issue with that. And on the other hand, the other person is who he has never even mentioned is Mr. Serious. Mr. Serious was on the first one and the second one and gave the exact same, if not more, harsh criticisms than I did at the time because he was kind of pushed.
For the Nick, which call are you talking about? Like
the first one, the part one.
One, yeah. Nick and Mr. Serious were both in part 1 and part 2. I brought Mr. Serious on. I specifically wanted to make sure Nick was not involved whatsoever because he works on In Time with Courtney. So I took that into account and respected his business working relationship before I decided to go in on Jim.
Oh, you told Nick that. Oh, okay. You told him like, okay, this is what's going to happen because this happened. So this shit went down, so I'm going to shit this. But
yeah, I gave him a brief. I gave him a brief explanation of, hey, some shit went down, something's gone on. I'm gonna make sure that you're separated because I'm gonna go in on him now because of this bullshit. And it was over on Steve's channel. If you want to check it out later.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Yep. Okay, so let's keep going. Because that was right before I went on In Time.
So trying to equate it with an abusive husband or abusive parent, I think is it's not just a stretch; it's just plain wrong. And if Sweet Heathen and other close friends of mine got hurt,
but earlier he
maybe
agreed.
instead of writing this long manifesto on a YouTube channel comment that I may or may not never see, maybe come to me directly.
But he said he did see it and he felt bad.
Can I also point out he's saying some random. He is saying some random channel as if saying it's anywhere is literally on my channel.
It was literally on your channel.
This channel, you motherfucker!
And he said he saw it, and I was so sorry and so heartbroken about the way that he made me feel before.
Yeah. I didn't read it.
Yeah, do you want?
I didn't read it.
I mean, I'm pretty sure I have a screenshot here if you guys want to see it of what he said. Are we interested in that? I mean,
go.
For the audience, I guess. I know what was said. That's like me personally. Like nobody can convince me otherwise. I know the conversations I had and how this went. And a lot of this stuff should have been staying private. I was not the one who made it public. I'm just making that clear.
Yeah.
So the comment says, at Steve, Steve said some shit. He is basically like, yo, this is some fucking problems. Read my pinned comment to Chesh. And then also, he then responded and said, it hurts my heart, Sweet feels that way. Please ask her if there's any way I can rectify what I've done to make her feel that way. Likewise, I apologize to you and everyone else who feels that I have inadvertently harmed them by being cordial to Kyle. Dumbass, nobody thinks that.
Totally misses the point.
He's completely missed the point. I want to try to make this better. For starters, I'm planning to get a second interview with him to ask some of the obvious questions that I should have asked the first time. Steve, you should ask her directly. She is hurt you haven't reached out to her to ask how she feels about all this. You're right, I will do that.
And then it was, I don't know how much longer, but the thing is he reached out to me after a lot of other stuff had gone down, and I caught wind that certain things in certain other places. I'm sorry, Jim. Maybe you should reevaluate the people that you talk to and that you have confidence in, because they're not all the steel traps that you think they are. And I said to Steve that I do not have any interest in talking to this person in private until they publicly correct the things that they did and admit the mistakes they made, that they said one thing, they did something else, that I am not a lunatic for thinking this way, that Steve is not a lunatic for thinking the way he thinks and remembering the conversations that we had.
And I'm not hostile for pointing out that neither of you are lunatics and this guy's maybe just kind of an ass.
I was very clear about that. And I was like, if you don't want to do it, don't do it. Leave me alone. It's that simple. But he couldn't leave me alone. He wants to keep dragging me out. So here we are again.
Just to make himself look nice. Like, oh yeah, I'm so principled.
Just so everybody knows it's her fault. It's not mine. It's all her. Even though I said that it was not her fault.
I'm a principal, black belt, retired Marine who threatens women.
This is this is speaking out two sides of your mouth, right? He's privately saying one thing and in comments saying one thing and then on his video saying something else. And this is an optics issue, but okay, moving on.
No, it's actually saying maybe like two things out of two assholes, actually.
Oh, okay, yeah, fair enough. You got that. Okay.
Sorry.
Manifesto on a YouTube channel comment that I may or may not never see. Maybe come to me directly, and we can work this out. But she never did come to me directly. Like you said, you accidentally doxed.
Yeah, person who's afraid of you, come and talk to me directly. A person who's afraid of you. Go ahead, sweet. Go for it.
I gotta snap to make my point, too.
You know what? I don't have to. Cheshire just made the point. Nikki, please fill in the rest of that, because I know you know exactly what I'm going to say.
Let's go for it.
What's going on? I don't understand.
Where's the problem with asking somebody who is feeling intimidated and afraid of you that they should reach out to you in PM? Does that make sense?
No.
Okay.
Doing that shit in fucking public. God damn.
It's just like it's just like the whole thing like with other people. Sorry, I'm not gonna say names.
I know what you're doing.
I almost did it.
Almost.
But other people, like, why would you want to talk to somebody that you felt so incredibly put down by and intimidated by and afraid of? If you want to fix that with that person, maybe do the things that they were very specific in expressing what you should do to rebuild that bridge. There was going to be no repercussions from any of this. Like, you could do that, or you could not do it.
But sweet, he might have not seen it. Even though
but he did see it. He said he saw it.
Well, he's addressing it. He must have seen it. Anyway.
He felt so bad. How do you feel bad about it if he didn't see it? How do you pick it apart?
Okay, here we go.
So this person who did a public apology, did you reach out to him personally and give an apology? Or did you make sure you said it in a way he would see it?
I made sure that he could see it.
Okay, well, see, now, Cheshire, Steve hates me to bring this up. Cheshire accidentally doxed me shortly after that encounter. She gave out my phone number.
What? Steve told him to bring it up?
At least he admitted that it was accidental.
No, he said Steve hates me to bring this up. As in, Steve is not impressed that I'm bringing this up.
How dare you!
Also, he says that he admits he knows it was accidental, but he still wants another apology on top of the apology she already gave publicly immediately after doing it.
Well, he's confused.
And it was brought to his attention many times in the meantime.
So, well, yeah, on the other hand of that, because quite frankly, here, let me show you guys real quick, because he's complaining essentially like, oh, you didn't come to me to apologize. Bitch, you just fucking threatened me, and you're mad that I'm not apologizing you for accidentally showing your number. And yeah, I say accidentally showing your number because you're the one who told to make the DMs public. We agreed on this. I told you they were public. You had no qualms about them being public. I also say all the time that my DMs are allowed to be public if I so deem fit. It's not my fault you're a dumbass. I didn't show it out of courtesy. That was just a straight up courtesy thing. I am totally well within my rights to show that shit. Second off, that's not fucking what doxing is, but okay. And on third point, I'm gonna show you guys this real quick. Let me just pop this up.
Okay.
He's
wasn't he the
complaining
one
that-
who was going on again and again like, Shesh, do I have your permission to put this conversation in public forum? Shesh, do I have your permission to put this Cheshire, do I have your permission to put the conversation in the public forum? Wasn't it going on and on and on and on? Fucking moron. Puts his number there and gives the permission himself. Fucking moron.
I broke my
what was that?
notebook.
Uh-oh.
I broke it. Oh,
No.
no. No, that's okay. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Here we go.
You heard it all here. Cheshire skins cat.
I always hated that saying. It's the worst saying ever. It
Poor
makes me
kidders.
So sad.
So what I've got down over here, he makes this claim a bunch, by the way. He's just like, something about, showing my phone number, publicly revealing my phone number, blah, 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 blah. Dumbass. Here's where you put your phone number. You gave it to me twice when I literally didn't want your I was talking to you on this, and you kept giving me your number. This is not a good way to pick up girls' numbers, dude. Here we go.
No.
March 20th, and we do recall when my videos went out were March 20th, so this was the same day. Well, actually, it might have been a day or two later, because I actually had this video taken down. I didn't put it up as soon as it was done, because I took it down to make sure I could blur out the number, which is what I did. So, this is what it says. Did you dox me publicly, revealing my personal phone number? And are you continuing to claim that I call myself a lawyer when I actually said warrior? No, I'm not actually. And no, I didn't actually. And why did you block me on Twitter? Bitch, you threatened me! Having a disagreement does not mean we have to sever the lines of communication, does it? No, it doesn't. Maybe threats, though.
You threatening me does.
Wait, what the fuck? Did Tony Designs just show up in my fucking chat?
Yeah, I just asked him if he's here to attack Moon some more. He was very active on Modern Day Date, trying to make Moon, to gaslight Moon and make her feel like she was very wrong about something I think she was kind of right about. And he said that, oh, you're right. Oh, you must have been the first time. But I guess that's a kind of strict ethical behavior we can expect from an in-time employee.
Yeah, no,
so that's for them to hang on to.
So straight up, any mods in there, I can't see him because I haven't blocked. I don't know why he's actually managed or how he managed to get into this chat. So if you guys could, one of the mods, go play whack-a-mole with that shit. Goodbye, you dipshit. Okay. I'm not looking for an apology. You wanna see how much he's like, maybe Chess should apologize to me? Maybe Chess should apologize to me? Maybe Chess should apologize to me? I'm not looking for an apology. Okay. And I'm willing to overlook all of this in the interest of not perpetuating drama. Obviously not. Watch the video. I will not be commenting further. You know, I told him personally, directly, where to find the apology, which is the thing he's complaining about in this video over here. Moving on.
That she fixed it immediately, and that she shouldn't have done it.
He's
but she didn't
I think
directly.
I
That's
think
all right.
so. He's just straight up manipulative. He's such a manipulative bitch. Sorry, I that's my tone at this moment. But yeah. Oh, my tone. Oh my god. Yeah.
No, not the tone.
Anything but a woman stating her opinion. Oh
no.
No, we don't have a right to feel the way we feel or evaluate things the way we evaluate them.
How dare women?
The bros are talking. The bros are having a moment, man.
I think Original Nelson has the best comment of the night. LOL, Tony fucking Designs. Okay, moving on.
It's almost like every time a woman in my life speaks out against me and calls me out, I hit them in the face and then I stop doing that. So don't make it do that here.
Yeah, that seems to be the go-to for some people, but
yeah, for sure.
It's go time, bro. It's go time. All right, let's keep going.
Of mine got hurt by that. Maybe instead of writing this long manifesto on a YouTube channel comment that I may or may not never see, maybe come to me directly and we can work this out. But she never did come to me directly. like you
Nobody
said,
wants to
doxed
work
this
it out
person
with you
from-
because you're a
Why
piece of
would I
shit.
come to you? Why would I come to you? You did the bad things. You did all the bad things. You lied about, or, I'm sorry, at very best, I can still
Go
be
for it.
ultimately charitable.
He lied.
You at
Fuck
very
off.
best.
He lied. He fucking
He
lied.
lied.
Misrepresented what your intentions were with the interview. And then afterwards, like, that wasn't enough for you to be like, hey, this went down in a way that was not what I said it was going to do. Okay, I screwed up. I should probably be like, hey, sweet, or well, you already talked to Steve, but hey, sweet, this went down a way that I didn't tell you it was going to go down. I understand this was very important to you for these X reasons that were very clear to me multiple times before and have been made clear to me since. Are you okay? Are we okay? Is everything fine? Why is it my obligation to reach out to somebody that did the bad things? It's
Fucking
not.
threaten someone. Straight up threaten someone with violence and then goes on to like,
Yeah. I should reach out to him? No. You fix this shit or leave me alone. It's pretty
Yeah.
simple. God.
So yeah, no, he's just trying to represent the situation in a way that is straight about the case. All right, here we go.
You said it in a way he would see it.
I made sure that he could see it.
Okay, well, see now, Cheshire. Steve hates me to bring this up. Cheshire accidentally doxed me shortly after that encounter.
Nope.
accidentally doxed you, then why should she apologize, dipshit? Sorry.
But she, you know,
Sorry.
I see
She
that
did apologize.
fixed it immediately, and that she shouldn't have done it. But she didn't come to me directly. That's all right.
So why, if she's already fixed it and she's already apologized, why is dipshit?
She didn't come groveling to you for forgiveness for an accident.
The fucking moron.
I mean, you don't have to come to me for an accident. But you have to go. She has to go to you for an accident.
Yeah, this is a really bad double standard here. On the other side, what I did just show also, I did tell him directly where to find the apology. You know what else was there under that video? Your comment, which means that he was told directly where to find that.
Oh god.
That same fucking day.
He's so full of shit. He's so full of shit and he's so full of himself that he literally he lays out all the mousetraps in front of him, all the little lies he says here and there, and this just goes like spread eagle and just falls face first on them. Fucking moron.
Fall on your own sword, I guess, yeah. All right, here we go.
Steve thinks I'm petty for bringing it up, but hey, there's a thing. And the adult thing to do would be to come to me and just say, hey, no biggie. No matter how pissed we are at each.
Hey, the adult thing to do would be to go to you and say, hey, you know what, it's no biggie, let's talk about it. Yes, sweet, hey, he should be going to you. That would be the adult thing. So he's describing that what he's doing with you is not the adult thing.
Oh, wow.
I don't know what else to give you there. He just said it all.
Can he follow?
I don't even know what
follow
else to say.
his own advice first? Can he follow his own advice first before he
his ethics and his morals are too malleable. He doesn't really know what they are. They're just whatever's convenient at the time. Moving on.
Yeah.
If it was an accident, it was an accident, whatever. Sweet he that I don't think I apology because
whatever.
Whoa.
Why make a big deal out of it, dip?
Whoa, we're gonna miss it. Ready?
No biggie.
Sorry.
No matter how pissed we are at each other, if it was an accident, it was an accident, whatever. Sweet he that I don't think I owe an apology because it's like the reasons I gave earlier, it's nothing like an abusive husband. It is play civil or I will disengage from the conversation, or you'll see what happens.
I think we showed how that's not the case, but moving
I
on.
think we did.
My reaction to Cheshire's hostility has nothing to do with that. That was something I didn't plan for. I should have unplugged before I got this.
Not the case.
So he's saying that his hostility towards me has absolutely nothing to do with your feelings about that situation. I'm glad he can tell us what that means.
Yeah, thank you for telling me how I should feel about your abusive behavior as a woman. This is something I should feel, or I should or not, fuck!
I have a question.
Oh, absolutely, Steve.
I have a quick
He's
question.
Not an abusive husband, according to him.
Could you...
Yeah, according to him, he disagrees that my assessment of his words and actions are not conducive to a productive relationship. And maybe I want to withdraw from that relationship.
As if she can't have a reaction to words for some reason, like her mom psyche can't produce a certain reaction to certain words, and they shouldn't for certain reason. Like even like
I want to jump in. I want to jump real quick. Chat. Original Nelson says, "See you later. Great show." Jim Red Flag Hall is an aggressive dick. Thanks for stopping by. Sorry we're going really long today, but there's just a lot, and we really didn't want to. We didn't want to cut it into 2 parts because we really fucking just want to be done with this horse shit.
Yeah.
We want to be the thing is, we want to be thorough so that if anything comes up in the future, we can be like, go watch that video and timestamp it and just, be done with this, because this never should have been this big of an issue in the first place.
So I have a question with you guys. At the beginning of my conversation with him privately, he gave me his private number, expecting me to, or his personal number, I should say, not private, but his personal number to get in contact with him. How do you think I would feel if I did that, had the conversation I did, then had the interaction I did, and now the continual interaction with him threatening me that he had my personal phone number?
Oh! He has my number.
Oh!
Time to get that shit changed.
Oh.
No, I'm not. I shouldn't feel that way though. I'm overreacting. I shouldn't think like that. That's
women, you overreacting all the time.
It doesn't mean anything that I was actually kidnapped at gunpoint before, or that I was physically assaulted the way that I was. I should just suck all that up, and when I see the same red flags, just be okay about it, because friendship and brotherhood
because obviously he's never gonna do anything except that he's saying he's gonna do something.
No. I would never do that to you, because I've never heard that before. I won't hurt you.
I would never do that to you because you wouldn't say something like that to me. Chesh deserves it.
As if like he can be go mode with one lady for having a disagreement with him, but he can't go into go mode with another lady for disagreeing with him. Like, what?
If it's not clear now, even I am capable of having tone. I can talk to you this way.
Oh yeah.
So what are you gonna do about it? Now we can't be in the same room together because you might you might make me drink my dinner hospital straw.
What are you gonna do, Jim? Fuck you.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna play the clip. He knows my heart, and I'm such a good person that he wants to beat the shit out of actively.
And never mind that it took me literally months. It took me literally months to convince my family and loved ones and friends that it was okay that I was meeting people off the internet to do these meetups with.
Oh no! Well,
they saw the interview. I did not turn them on to that interview, Steve, Jim. They found it on their own. And now my judgment is in question moving forward for anybody that I ever hang out with. This is the problem.
Fuck you, Jim.
Oh no.
But what I feel doesn't matter. I overreacted. We're all to all of this. All of us.
Yeah.
So we're hysterical.
I'm overreacting.
Look at
I'm rightfully overreacting. Deal with it, motherfucker.
Hey, can I point out that we're the ones overreacting, not this clip over here of him screeching. Boosted ass. I'm gonna employ a little bit of gamer lingo. This boosted ass bonobo over here.
That's more. Oh god. That braggadocious, vacuous, dyspeptic nincompoop. There we go.
Yeah, there you go. My screen share is having trouble. There we go. Okay. Oh wait, no, I can't share it that way. Sorry, hold on. My bad. I have to do it application. Otherwise, you guys can't hear it. So.
You're doing good.
There we go.
You're doing good, Shesh. You're doing.
I'm doing my best, sir. All right, here we go.
And Steve promised me that
$40.
he would keep the situation civil. I'm not saying he failed that. Maybe he's not exactly, John Dillinger. He wasn't so quick on the trigger. He was going to let it keep going for a while. I don't know.
What?
I don't think he was, because he didn't. But on the other hand, I would like to point out, Jim, you were the only one who wasn't civil.
Yeah.
So you're asking him to... This is like if somebody goes onto a talk with Nathan Oakley and they have control of the mute button. Jim can't have a conversation if somebody isn't, unless people are not hostile. But Jim gets to decide what is hostile, and that term is liable to change to whatever he sees is most convenient for him at the time.
my problem is like, I still don't see the problem with using the word hostility, but to quit, if you go by the literal meaning, if you go by the literal meaning of the word being hostile, why are you going to quit if you know that you are not wrong? If you're right, you are going to defend yourself and you won't care how the other person is coming at you. Whereas, okay, I'll say it again, Shesh was not hostile, get over it.
Do we want to cut the video here? There's not a whole much after this. Or, Sweet, is there any more that you wanted to touch on in this particular video?
No, I don't think so. I think that,
I think we've gotten to this.
Yeah.
I think he just kind of goes on a little bit about this shit. I don't think there's anything really more that we have to actually address.
More about what an awesome person he is for trying to find people past her death. Yeah, probably more of that.
Unless it's me.
God.
I mean, to be fair, I wouldn't me either, to be fair. I'm a dick. I'm not gonna mince words. I am not the nicest fucking person on the planet. I don't put up with this kind of shit. And I don't put up with this shit very well, because I don't want to put up with this kind of shit. If other people want to put up with this shit, that's on them. You're welcome to put up with that shit if you so desire. You like people who try and manipulate you and fucking use you just to give themselves the credibility, or if people are using you for views, because keep in mind, who are the people he's mentioning? Nick. Me. Sweet he brings up slightly.
Well, and do we really think that he looked for Nick to have this conversation by accident?
Right. Yeah. Right.
You think it matters that Nick and I have in person, in real life, local friends for a while?
Yeah.
If you want some credibility,
but you notice who he's not. All of us are known. We're all known. Sweet, whether you like it or not, people know who you are. Sorry, you have a presence in the community. Sorry, I did inform you this, but sorry, not sorry. It is what it is.
Fair enough. Yeah.
I don't want to be too terse with you, but listen, you're important around here, and people give a shit.
I'm quitting. I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm done.
No.
Fuck you.
So are we saying that Jim is basically like a dog? Like you can yell at them and tell them they love you, but if you're yelling, like because they don't understand the words that are being said, they only understand the tone. Sorry, I got distracted.
As long as you accept his big bear hugs and everything's fine. Which
He's gonna crush my buns.
He does give some really good bear hugs.
He's gonna crush
my buns. But kind of a little excessive for a first time meetup. Just saying.
What was I saying? Oh, the people he's mentioning. He's mentioning people in the community who are known, who have numbers, who have people who listen to them, who he thinks are credible. Mr. Serious went on the whole time in the second one, and we know he saw it because he knows that I apologized, and he also knows what you said, which is in that video. He was there in the first one and the second one. He hasn't mentioned him worth a shit.
Nope.
At all. Not even once. Poor guy. I thought he did a great job. I want him to come back. He comes and plays Minecraft with me every so often. It's fucking glorious.
He did a great job, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, that was really good.
Well, he had some stuff that he wanted to say. He wanted to keep going. Yeah, and that's so was I.
And that was even when I was still being charitable. I was like, maybe bad they're presenting it to be, but at the same time, their points they're making are valid. And then over time, Jim's behavior since then kind of demonstrated that maybe you guys weren't overreacting to the way that you were employing them.
I wasn't overreacting.
Mr. Serious doesn't have him blocked.
Ooh.
So if he cared that much about that shit and how to then
get in contact, then maybe,
So I have one thing. Yeah, I got one thing I want to show you guys real quick. Do you guys before we wrap up here, well, you guys can feel like if you have any last words, because I feel like we've been going on for quite a while, and I think we said everything that we really need to say. I think anything else is just going to be repeating. What do you guys think? Yeah.
I mean, the only thing I would say is there are a lot of things we didn't cover that were contradictions and problems. So if anybody is confused, again, about the position that I'm in and my personal feelings, we can talk about that. DM me. It's fine. I'm just going to say, obviously respectful questions and anything that we didn't cover in the video. Otherwise, I'm probably just going to point back to
We can
the
do a
video.
follow-up. If you guys want to leave
Yeah,
questions
if
for
there's,
us
if there's
here,
a lot, yeah.
you guys can leave questions in the comments here on this video. Leave them in the comments down below. We can address your questions. If there's anything that you need to see or any timestamps, stuff like that. If there's anything you want us to cover more in depth or something that needs more of an explanation or maybe more needs to be clarified a little bit more, please leave your comments down below. By the way, I don't think I blocked Jim on this channel.
No, you didn't.
Side note. Anyway, if there are any any questions, leave them in the comments down below. We'll if there's enough questions, we'll go through and we'll discuss them. Sweet, was that your last word, or do you have?
No, I'm tired. Just honestly, again, for the last time. I mean, leave me alone. I express so clearly. Like, if you want to fix your relationship with me, this is exactly what you need to do. If you don't want to do those things, I have no hard feelings. You go your way, I'll go mine. And I did that.
Yeah.
You're the one bringing me up in public.
So did I,
Leave me
actually.
alone. Stop dragging my name into things. Just back off.
Manya,
This
what
is
do
a
you
formal
got?
request.
What do you got, Manya?
So I would go like this. Like,
oh,
there's
before
a
people
huge
leave,
difference-
guys, don't leave yet. I have a super secret to show you at the end. Go ahead, Manya.
Yeah, shh. Stay. Don't go. So there's a huge difference between between being neutral actually and appearing to be neutral, as our Goblin Queen always says. We are not opposed to anyone on YouTube going to the seemingly opposite side and discussing anything or holding them accountable. It's how you do it. There's a certain way to approach things. We can't dictate it to you, but we can express our opinion about it. That how you did it. If we feel like you did a piss poor job, we will say you did a piss poor job. So and there's a lot of things that go in the background. It's like, you might think that we are sitting here and it's just four of us, but there are always people in the background who are helping this community a lot, and they also matter. And just don't go dismissing them and their opinions because they don't get the camera. So yeah, stop pretending that you care about everyone. Stop showing it through your actions and stop gaslighting people. And please, maybe don't issue threats. All right? Because that like people will never come near you if you do that. I understand if you get excited. I also get excited. The most I do is call out swear words or call you a bitch. But I don't threaten anyone.
Dense motherfucker.
Yeah, and dense motherfucker. That face.
On the side note, I think Manya just pointed out why Jim doesn't have any friends. Like, why he didn't understand how, like, banter and shit works. He seemed fine that the banter worked in private, but when it was made public, he wasn't okay with it. But, you know, whatever. Maybe that's why, because he doesn't understand how the banter works, because he doesn't have any friends. He doesn't have any friends because he's a fucking asshole.
Yeah.
Nikki, what do you got?
When you go around, when
Yeah,
you go and please, you want to do your thing. But when the time comes to stand up for your friends, stand up for your friends. If you can't do that, don't pretend and don't claim that you're their friend. All right? There's no point of that. No point of grandiosing or bragging about it. So yeah, you do you, whatever. You want to do it correctly, fine. No, piss off.
Mute yourself, Manya.
Yeah, that's it. I'll be back. Just give me a sec.
Just make sure you mute. She didn't mute. Okay, go ahead, Nikki.
Are you going now?
Oh god.
Well, with this whole situation, I kind of came in late because there's not a whole lot that I really invest in drama-wise. I just really want to kind of stay out of it. But
Have a look at it.
these allegations and the stuff that has come forward with Jim has really kind of brought it to the forefront. But if you try and just simplify everything that's going on, which is what I try to do, just mentally take myself out, put myself in a third party perspective. But if you literally just like pull out the strings, it's a situation where a man got mad at somebody else for being very pointed and calling him out. That alone is not the worst thing to have happened, but then also you have these admissions of active violence. He says things that are just incredibly violent that he wishes to do, like the part where we showed where he said that if he had not been calmed down, that he would make somebody eat out of a straw. And then he does default back on, oh, I'm sorry, this type of situation is not the best for me because I have PTSD. Now, while that can while it can explain certain behaviors, it should not be an excuse that you fall back on. And when people fall back on mental illness as an excuse to be an asshole, I really don't have much sympathy, no matter what it is. I have ADHD. I have other behavioral problems because of my incredibly abusive upbringing. I do have certain facets of PTSD. I do not have full-on PTSD, but I do experience certain things. So I don't ever try to use that as an excuse for my behavior. I do try to use it as like an explanation, but with certain things that Jim has said, I do take that as an excuse, and I feel like he needs to take more responsibility for the things that he said, and especially the
Or
threatening
any.
nature. Yes, exactly. The threatening nature that he said. He needs to perhaps not threaten the people that he's supposedly friends with and the people that he supposedly works with, but at the end of the day, really, I'm just very disappointed in this whole situation. From the start of the whole Kyle debate to now, it just really has shown me a lot of who Jim is as an actual person, and that's like the biggest thing I can say is I'm very disappointed, and these threats of violence have very much made me nervous for my friend Cheshire. And at the end of the day, I really just it's frustrating. So
Yeah, it's totally fair. All right, my last word on the matter is at me, bro. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. I only bring this up to the degree that I am at this point because it's continual, for one, because two other ladies in here seriously had some shit they wanted to get off their chest, and the hell if I was going to be able to stop them. And how dare I not stop the women on the show that is their show to say what they want to say? What the fuck? I'm not going to stop them. I don't care. Yeah, it's Money's show. Yep. But I guess at me, bro. I don't give a shit. I'm not trying to destroy anybody's channels. I'm not trying to do anything to anyone. I don't fucking care. I talk about shit that is this kind of shit, and that's kind of what we do, and it's always been what we did. You fucked up, bro. It wouldn't have been that big of a deal, but you decided to make it a huge big deal for no reason.
As if looking for validation. And you never guess where he's getting the validation from, Manya. What a wonderful segue you just gave to me on a golden platter. Why, thank you so much.
Just when you thought it was over.
Here's my big super secret for everybody. Look who's there. I don't know if y'all motherfuckers recall, but I do have a rule of the universe. If you ever don't know what the fuck is going on in a situation, go look around and see where Keon is. If Keon is on one side, that's never the right side. Find Keon and go in the other direction.
Oh, dear Lord.
Who's the one giving Jim validation?
I gotta admit, that's too funny.
Yeah, seriously, look at the people in your corner, Jim. God damn.
And did Jim reply to that? Did he? Please tell me he replied to it.
Fucking Dragnot.
He replied back, hey. Oh.
The most abusive assholes on the internet are your friends.
They're the ones validating your behavior.
And you know what? We were okay with that. We let it go. We forgive you for that. Yeah. Go ahead, be amicable. Do your thing. Do your redemption thing. We were fine with that. But this is exactly what I said would happen as fallout from this and warned you about is exactly what's happening. Literally exactly what's happening.
This is the best part of the whole thing. This is the best part of the whole thing. This is the best part of the whole thing.
It's madness.
Okay, so my rules for the universe maintain the same. anytime you do not know what is going on in a situation, go and find Keon, and then find out whoever he's talking shit about, because they're the ones who are right. If you ever find out that Keon is on your side about something, you need to seriously question what you're doing and why you're doing it. Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, guys. Thanks for being here.
Take care, everyone.
appreciate it.
Bye, everybody.